Good evening, avast ahoy, good day, and welcome once again to ye mateys. I be Josh the Pirate, and it brings me a colossal wagon load of pleasure to once again welcome you to the Humblewood. Above me I have me hearty crew, the rakish Rachel Foucar, the radical Mitch Earnshaw, the raucous Dan Suelto, and the radiant AJ Winters. And behind the scenes today, we have the ravenous Serum76. We must also shout out to our ravishing artist, Brepai, whose artwork you can see on the screen. There is Trish Caper up there right now. And the Deck of Many, who are the minds behind this wonderful setting that we are inhabiting. We also have some radical news. We have a sponsor for this season, Woot & Forge. They design and manufacture high-quality wooden tabletop gaming products using beautiful Australian and exotic hardwoods, and they are often beautifully hand-modeled by AJ Winters. They are local to WA and even do custom orders. Check out their incredible work on their website, woodandforge.com, and stay tuned for an amazing giveaway at the end of the season. And it's magnetic, isn't it? Hey, it's very cool. It's beautiful. Yeah. We love it. I'm excited. I wish I could own it. Okay. Guys, introduce yourselves. Rachel, tell us about yourself.
Hello, my name is Rachel Foucar. I'm a writer, actor, and creative trash at large. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rachel Foucar, because that name is never taken. I also wrote a book called The Rings of Mars, and it's available right... Oh, you got it! Yay!
It arrived today.
You can get it on the internet, and if you do, I'll make that noise that I just made then, and it makes my heart happy.
It made my evening, thank you. Mitch, tell us about yourself.
Hello everybody, I am Mitch Earnshaw, the artist formerly known as Big Viking Mitch, and I don't stream, but you can find me on Twitter at the link that will have popped up in chat at some point, and there you can see me share silly things like some kid face planting a diving board just before, which made me giggle a little bit.
You make him giggle a lot.
And, more than a bit.
Yep. And yes, tonight I'll be playing Nevermore, who is returning to probably the only place that is close to home now, since his other home's been taken away from him cruelly. Yes.
By the real estate market.
By someone.
Yeah. Mr. Dan, tell us about yourself, my friend.
Okay, hi, I'm Dan, lurker ordinaire and also connoisseur of the meat space dimension.
Did you just say lurker ordinaire?
Meat space. Like, how are we focused on that bit when he's a connoisseur of the meat space?
Welcome to the meat. We're in cyberspace right now, but I'm in the meat space. Hello. I'm playing Benneck today, and also I think you can only find me on Roll for Damage's Discord. Come hang out and do all that talk stuff about D&D and tell us your stories, because I always read them, even though I don't talk much in there.
I was going to say 17 sessions in, you'd think we'd have gotten good at intros by now. AJ, tell us about yourself. Part of it.
I'm having flashbacks to Rachel's aggressive intro.
Yeah.
She had the mic.
Backdrop.
Hi, I'm AJ Winters. You can find me on Instagram, AJWintersBO, where I keep you up to date with creative things that I'm doing, including script writing, voice acting, producing for Roll for Damage, and other creative content that is coming out in July. So stay tuned. But you can also just find me here on Roll for Damage on Thursday nights, where I DM the Academy of Xander.
Yes, you can. And I'm Josh the Pirate. I am a voice actor, performer, and role player in Perth, WA. I also have a fringe show called Paparotica that I do every year with my darling wife, Karen, the mother of bunnies in chat. And beyond that, I am the DM for Humblewood. We also have a podcast, There Be Dragons, in which I play the infamous and deadly pirate Scairn Felspar. And if you like my face and voice, come back on Saturday morning AWST to watch me play Erwin, the crocodile hunter, as in he is a crocodile who is also a hunter, in the FOMO game on Roll for Damage on Saturday morning. So I must remind our sleek, streamlined, and devilishly hydrodynamic audience to please like, follow, and subscribe, all the things. We have the socials. You can catch up on episodes you may have missed on YouTube. Look, I don't know. They probably are. I'm running out of nice things to say about them. I try and say something different every week, and I think hydrodynamic sounds fine. I'd like to be hydrodynamic myself. Can we get a recap, please? Somebody, Rachel.
Oh, Jude!
Oh, I think I got it this week, Jude. I've got it covered, I think. We started off last week in the Scorched Grove, having just lost Helvig, and some enormous fiery being had the audacity to interrupt our grief. We ran from it because it was so massive, but because it was massive, it quickly caught up to us, and it was very clear we weren't going to be able to outrun it, so we hid behind some rocks. Then our good pal Tevor ran towards the beast to distract it, which bought us a little bit of time. We still weren't sure whether we should, what we should do, but Nevermore's head voice told us we should run, and so we did. Unfortunately, we were all pretty tired from all the fighting and crying we'd been doing, so we ran into a little bit of trouble navigating the treacherous landscape and dodging the fireballs that the elemental was throwing at us. Jude ended up knocked unconscious. We felt another sand snake beneath us, and it was all looking very dire. But Nevermore's eye socket lady chimed in and told us that we should ride the snake, which seemed like a great idea. So he tried to stab the snake to get purchase, but it didn't really work. Fortunately, I caught on to what he was trying to do, and I have a very fancy dagger, and that did the trick. We rode the sand snake just far enough to get away from the elemental, and then jumped off before it had the chance to turn around and bite us. Then we set up camp, and all of us had very, very unpleasant dreams. The next day, we made our way back to Alderheart. Jude didn't speak the entire time, which was very concerning. When we got to Alderheart, Nevermore was very rude to the locals, which was also concerning. We spoke to the council, and they suggested that we should go to the Avium, which is the wizard school where Nevermore studied, to find some answers about how to beat an elemental. Is the volcano in the Scorched Grove a portal? Can we close the portal? So many questions. We had a quick team aside and decided that we should go. I also had to pull Nevermore aside and talk to him about maybe not giving Jude false hope about Helvig still being alive, because it may feel right to placate Jude and keep her happy, but it could be messing her up in the long run. Nevermore apologized to Jude for treating her like a child, and it was very sweet. Then, we attended a memorial service for Helvig and Tevor. Jude was very unhappy and left halfway through. I followed her to make sure she was all right and to let her know that I'm here for her if she needs me. And then Havel gave me a very nice hat. We swung by Eliza's shop, and it's a very nice hat.
No, objectively, everything you said is true. It was just the way you phrased it.
Fine. We swung by Eliza's shop and stocked up on potions, and then Jude and I both tried on the very nice hat and decided that I should keep the very nice hat because Jude doesn't like the way it tickles her ears and I look gorgeous in it.
I'm going to change the name of the item to a very nice hat.
I only had very nice hat written down once, but then
Since the feathered helm,
so I worked with it more. No, it's a very nice hat and I have a very fancy dagger. Then we set off for the Avium. Deciding on the slow but safe route for the first time in our lives. We met some friendly travelers, practiced our spells, and it was mostly uneventful up until right at the end where we were ambushed by a bunch of skeletons. The fight started getting a bit sticky and we could really use some help, which eventually appeared in the form of Benneck. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Benneck. Yeah,
that's
excellent.
Right.
Like how do you remember it?
Like you've been in someone's neck. That's me, Benneck.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
He is a vulture raptor with a delightful accent and an enthusiastic handshake. He'd been sent by the Avium to help us find our way there safely. We made our introductions, and Jude was pretty skeptical, reverting back to her potato sack alias. And then he accompanied us on the rest of our journey, and we got to the Avium in one piece. And that's what happened.
You did do that. I would like to register that you are being sent there because you are the Defenders of Alderheart, a quite notorious group famously composed of Helvig Dewpoint, Trish Caper, Nevermore, and Jude Littlefoot. A female Gerbine paladin. But look, which is what made the fact that Benneck goes, "Nice to meet you, sir," even more pleasant. Like, that says who Benneck is beautifully. He's like, nope, he wants to be a man. That's okay. He can do that. I'm not going to stop him. He wants his name to be Potato Sack.
Yeah.
Fine.
By the way, Benneck, just want to bring you up to date with something. Every now and then, we just like to stop and recount what happens to us in the last period of time. It might seem weird what Trish just did there, right? But it's just something that we happen to do, and we'll probably ask you to do it if you hang around with us for long enough, all right? So
we all get a lot of head injuries, so it's important just to make sure we're on the same page.
Just take notes of things that happen. Unless you have the memory that I have. All right. Just
gods no. I take my book out from my burlap sack.
Good, wonderful.
I start writing notes.
All right, take it away, God.
Well, mateys, may your studies be fruitful and all your new friends be armed with bows and silly accents as we venture once more into the Humblewood. Professor Birchwalker, who met you just moments ago, leads you into a large central gate, which appears to be the only entrance to the structure. Let's just have the ambience. She withdraws an amulet with the Avium's crest upon it from the folds of her robe and presents it to the giant wooden double doors underneath the crenellated watchpost of the couple of perch guard that you saw as you were arriving. With a heavy creak, there is a brief moment where the same symbol that is on the on her little amulet, that same symbol appears on the doors in like a purple light, and then with a heavy creak, the doors open, revealing an interior lounge, quite a luxurious looking space, all done up in beautifully polished hard woods, not unlike the produce of Wootenforge. It has a main desk sitting near the far wall. Yeah, much like that. The entire inside is like living inside a box made by Wootenforge. It's pretty sick. I wouldn't mind living there. The main desk sits near the far wall, behind which a scribe is busy with tottering piles of paper. Several chairs and couches are situated around circular tables throughout the room, which is lit comfortably by floating braziers containing magical flames of varying color. Portraits of wizened bird folk and humble folk alike hang from the walls, each one wearing robes similar to those of the attendant. I love, Mitch, you just can't not smile at your own joke as well. So I'm going to tell the chat what you wrote because we're all laughing and we all just saw it. And it's like Mitch says, I lived in Hardwood before I was born, and we all went hee hee hee, and then tried to move on with our lives. But we couldn't. We all giggled internally.
Hi, everybody.
And he was just smiling, and then like he was so proud of himself. I wanted everyone to know how funny Mitch is. He is very funny.
All right, sorry everybody.
The noteworthy thing about this space is that it doesn't have a ceiling. It goes all the way up inside the trunk. So this room is the entire width, the entire size of the bottom of the tree, some 300-400 feet across. And you can see the entire inside of the tree that you approach from the outside is hollow. Up to, you would guess, probably about 2/3 of the way up. And it has balconies all the way around and staircases leading all the way up. It looks like it would be very tiring to climb. Behind the main desk, however, is a spiral staircase that leads down. The staircase is flanked by a pair of large birdfolk statues, each one bearing the likeness of a corvum. One of them bearing the likeness of a quorum whose portrait hangs on the west wall. Opposite the staircase is a circular platform that rests in its own cylindrical alcove, and Nevermore, you would know that this levitates when you get on it. Professor Birchwalker nods to a few passing people that they recognize, nods to the scribe at the front desk and says, they've been cleared by the dean already. These are the defenders. These are the ones we thought they were. And gets on the circular platform and ushers you on. And then utters an incantation and flashes their badge at there's a pillar rising up from the center of the platform, and she just sort of presses her badge to it and mutters an incantation that you can hear contains the number 23. And the entire stone disc, which is 20 feet in diameter, begins to rise from the ground and propel you upwards through the tree trunk.
Oh, so good to be back. Good to be back.
Windows pass occasionally as you zip on your way up, showing glimpses of the wood and just how high you are traveling. There is no walls to it. There's a railing around it, but there you are. Let's keep the mime consistent, shall we, AJ? Yep. The platform stops about halfway up, and the party finds themselves in an area next to a busy atrium. Professor Birchwalker gestures you off, and you follow them to the dean's office.
Jude, do you feel comfortable walking up this high? Just curious.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. I can fly if I fall. That's all.
I'm a detective. She flashes her own badge.
Yes. Yes, you are. You're a detective. I was just, if you were feeling uncomfortable, I would have hooked the leash on, but
No.
you seem fine. No worries. Trish, do you want me to leash you, or are you okay?
No, I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm
No
fine.
worries. I bet Helvig would have said yeah. Oh, let's continue.
Where is Master Helby?
Yeah, he's
On a secret mission.
Oh, that's what I thought, because you guys were together, and then I only saw 3 of you, but I didn't want to ask anything about it. I thought it might be rude, but you mentioned him, so I thought I should bring it up. Yeah, secret mission it is.
Yes, secret mission. We'll talk more later, Benneck.
All right, well.
I'll see you in hell. Thank you very much for the gift, Benneck. You have a 1d6 inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll see you in hell. It's weird to say that. I was like, I'll see you in hell. Thanks very much. So you and your companions enter a round stone office. It is surrounded on all sides by windows. In fact, no, we'll do that later. Through which several spires and the large circular terrariums can be observed slowly floating by. The terrariums are large platforms of earth. There are 4 of them that orbit around the tree trunk, each containing a very different and distinct biome. The many tables inside the office are filled with disorganized piles of books. The inhabitant of the office is clearly not a very organized and clear-headed person. And Nevermore, on the rare occasion that you were in this office before, nothing has changed. The desk is in a similar state of disorder, and behind the tottering piles of books and papers, you can see a sable luma. Mr. Serum, can we have the picture of Dean Winsworth? His name is actually Gabe Winsworth, but he is the Dean of the Avium up. And he peeks up from over his books. Oh, please excuse me. I'm just reviewing a few hundred of these for my students. Yes, excellent work, yes, but one does tend to lose track of time. Pardon me, I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to see us.
Oh, no, not at all. I apologize I wasn't able to meet you at the front desk. So please allow me to officially welcome you to our noble house of learning, or welcome back, young man. Well done indeed. It's proud to see one of our alumni doing so well for themselves. You are a service to the school, young man. Now, let us cut right to the chase. I was, of course, made aware that... my bad. We apparently don't... He was in last week's bunch, Serum. I was, of course, made aware of the reason for your visit, a noble quest, and one I am keen to assist you with. The council was most effusive in its insistence that I assist you to the best of my abilities. Not that any such prompting was needed. More detail, however, on what you need would be helpful for me to assist you in your studies in the future, however. If you have any, what sort of information would you be seeking?
Well, if I may, Trish and Jude. Well, first of all, please, this is Dean Winsworth. Trish
yes.
and Jude. Yes.
My apologies, yes.
And this is Trish Caper. And this
Pleasure.
is
Absolute
and this is
pleasure.
Jude. Jude. What are we going by, Jude? Today.
Potato sack.
Potato sack. Jude potatoes. This is Jude Littlefoot. There's no point lying to the dean. The dean.
Professor Winsworth says, well, change of name is all that's absolutely fine. I was informed a Jude Littlefoot would be attending, but if it's a Jude potato sack, that's absolutely fine. I should just
It doesn't matter.
For the sake of discretion, let's go with potato sack, if we may.
Certainly. I
Jude
shall have
feels
it
more
entered.
comfortable. Jude feels more comfortable like that.
Completely fine. And he actually makes a note on one of his notepads at his desk, which appears to be sitting next to 4 little shields, much like the thing that Professor Birchwalker used to activate the lift.
Interesting.
Yes, of course. And he offers his hand to Jude to shake. And shakes it sort of firmly but gently, like he's not like trying to impose a sort of macho dominance or anything. It's just a polite handshake to Jude. As one
we got a
adult
raid
to another.
from the Baronade.
Baronade raid. That's fun to
Hell
say.
yeah.
Welcome, raiders. Welcome to Roll for Damage. Welcome to the Humblewood. We are just beginning, so you're coming in at a good time. We are about to go on a quest for knowledge at a wizard school, which is exciting. So yeah, thanks very much for the raid. What were you doing? Tell us. So Nevermore.
Yes, well, Dean, can I call you Gabe? Is that okay?
Dean Winsworth, Gabe,
Dean,
yes, if you like.
yes,
You're a
wonderful.
graduate, of course.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Gabe. I'm sure you know the overarching facts of what has happened.
Yes.
However, we have a more, I guess you could say, hands-on account of what occurred. We were sent, the 4 of us, unfortunately, one of the 4 of us is no longer with us at this point in time. Just gotta see Jude out the corner of my eye and continue. And
I was informed of such. Yes.
yes,
My deepest condolences to you on that matter.
I'm sure the council's informed Dean. I'm looking down at Jude at this point in time. I'm sure the council has informed the Dean of what has happened. So there's no point jibber jabbering around things.
I spoke personally with Council Lady Beta yesterday.
Wonderful.
She is an ex-student of mine herself and a very gifted sender. We communicate on the regular. I'm afraid there was nothing new information has yet passed into my head in the last 20 minutes.
Well,
Jude starts like going through the books.
I look confused. Condolences for a secret mission? What, does the mission suck?
Benneck, we'll talk later. Please, don't interrupt.
I don't say
Now-
anything, I'm just scratching.
Okay. We were tasked on heading out into the Scorched Grove to investigate a disturbance, a large monstrosity, and we found what we thought to be the large monstrosity, which was an ash snake, immense creature. You're probably familiar with them.
Yes, I have. We've had
Unfortunately-
limited accounts, but yes.
Unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be the largest creature that we found out there. After our companion went on a little journey, we saw what seemed to be the opening of a portal off in the distance, and I'll talk to you more about this later, but this immense creature stepped from the volcano, towering colossus of smoke and wreathing flame, and stepped down the volcano and started making its way towards us. We managed to make our way away from it and escape, flee, again losing somebody. But we almost lost our own lives, if not for the quick action of Trish here, managing to save us.
I see.
But
well, I'm afraid it's not my area of expertise, but of course, the facilities and full resources of the Avium are yours to request. I have put Benneck here in basically, here's your full-time chaperone / research assistant / guide. He is a very able researcher. He actually has recently completed his journeyman qualifications, much like you yourself attained, young man. So you are aware that is not an easy feat.
Yes,
so he's quite a
not.
gifted student, and we're very proud to have him and retain his services ongoingly. He can assist you. The chief librarian, Mordain, will also, of course, be rendering any assistance you provide. And the faculty here stands ready to assist in any way we can. Master Potato Sack, may I request that you don't would you mind putting those down for a moment? They were in a, I know it does look rather disorganized, but it's my disorder, so I know where it all is. I don't want it to get muddled, if you don't mind. He has given every indication that he hasn't paid any attention to it at all up until this point, and just sort of stop and goes back.
So I guess really the overarching question is, what is this creature that has stepped out of the volcano? Is the volcano a portal to some other realm? Is there a way of closing it?
The portal,
yes. Exactly.
All of that would come under elemental knowledge and how one would summon those things, which would be, I suppose, conjuration magic, or dissummon as well. But it would, I imagine, be linked historically with the great calamity that caused the birth of the Scorched Grove in the first place. All of this is rather esoterica at this point, and until 20 years ago, there was nobody who even needed to know the information. It was just sort of a fact of life. The Tenders did a perfectly serviceable job of maintaining the status quo, as it were, so we just sort of all moved on with it. As I understand it, actually, it was something of an agricultural boon living nearby. The ash was extremely good fertilizer and things like that. So it generally was not something that, it is not an aspect of study that has been thoroughly pursued in recent times. So it is, I'm afraid, something you're going to have to actually do a bit of digging for. But as I say, you really could not be in a better place. The Avium is quite literally built on the oldest and most powerful library in the entire Humblewood. The greatest store of knowledge at all. The main building is directly above said library, which is built into the roots of the Avium itself. With any luck, that's where you'll find what you're looking for. Now, disclaimer, some notes, some tomes rather, can be, well, let's not bandy about the bush, a little deadly. Now, don't worry. That one should be fine, as long as you don't open page 47. But don't worry, our librarians are experts, and I have assigned here young Benneck as well to assist. He's one of the finest students and a very handy chap to have with you in a pickle. Between them, they'll help point out you in the right direction while steering you clear of the more advanced materials.
Yes, we won't be going near those with Jude.
Yes.
Jude is an avid reader. That's correct, isn't it, Jude?
And
okay.
well, I do have a thing to assist you while you are here, sort of a gift, if you will. So he hands everybody a little charm, basically a little amulet. It is if we could show that one, Serum. I'm afraid we didn't have the Mr. Winsworth, but we will have. There it is. Each one of you gets one of them. He says this here is specially for guest researchers. Each one is assigned to the person I'm giving it to now. This one is yours, Master Potato Sack. Nevermore, yours. You'll of course know how these function. Trish, there you are, my dear. And Benneck, actually, this is actually an improvement on your security pass, so you will have this one as well.
Thanks, sir.
These allow you to freely roam the grounds. Whilst I know the importance of your mission, I suspect you've had a long and tiring journey. The ambulance will give you access to the dormitory chambers that have been prepared specifically for you. Benneck will be rooming with you, and I'm sure he'll be grateful because normally he has to share with, 5 others? Yes, you'll each get your own chamber in the dorm, in your sort of a group as a guest dormitory. You've also these also grant free meals at the campus dining hall, and you're free to sit in on any lectures you wish to attend. If you even want to give one, we'd be very, very happy to receive such a guest lecture. It'd be fascinating, I'm sure. And you are also welcome to peruse the more conventional libraries housed in the orbiting structures as well. And if you ever get lost or need to go to a certain place, as I'm sure Master Nevermore here can explain, the ambulance have an incantation, a little piece of magic placed on them to guide you. So simply hold it flat in your palm, and he takes his and demonstrates, and speak clearly where you wish to go. Dean Winsworth. And the thing on his palm, because it's vaguely arrow-shaped, literally spins on his palm to point directly at him. And he says, now obviously this is pointing at me, but if I move it over here and it just maintains its orientation regardless of where he moves it, and then he taps it twice and says, thank you. Though obviously in a multi-dimensional structure, most of the time it will lead you to the central elevator, and then simply press it to the central console and it'll take you to the appropriate level and then continue following it. I believe that is all the assistance I can currently impart, unless you are looking for a very specific thing. But I will leave you to your own recognizance, and Benneck here will tell you everything you need to know. Yes?
Thank you very much for your time, Dean. Thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Best of luck to you.
Oh, just one quick question. Is Rusty still about?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. I can't get rid of the man. Tenure and all that.
Wonderful. Good. I'll be dropping in and seeing Rusty later. Thank you. Splendid. I'm sure he'll be glad to see you. Very well. Thank you, Reese. Thank you, Professor Birchwalker. And Professor Birchwalker has been standing there politely, just smiling and waiting and nodding when appropriate. And says, "Oh, you're very welcome." Says, if you do need any information, I am the conjuration professor. So if you are looking for information in that particular area of magic, maybe I can assist. I would suggest possibly finding out exactly what information you need, otherwise to sort of help me point you in the correct direction. Cool. Understood. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure Benneck will be able to take us from here.
She clicks her heels together, bows very smart, in an almost military manner. Not even an almost, it's a military manner. Nods politely and then marches out. Mechanically, I'll just give you a bit of a quick explanation, just sort of, this is how this works. You're here to gather information. Broadly, the 4 things you're looking to know are the Great Calamity, the Scorched Grove, elemental creatures, and conjuration magic. And sort of high-end information on conjuration magic. While here, you can also avail yourself of any of the facilities. You can spend enough time to study various things. Basically, there is no upper time limit on the amount of time you can spend here, but things in the world will progress as you are here. So time is of the essence, but don't feel rushed, I suppose is what I'm saying. There are facilities for wizards among you to learn new spells if you wish to. Costs half the cost that it would normally cost to learn a new spell, but you can paladins can also. Oh no, they don't need to, because you know the whole list. If anybody is proficient with herbalism kits, they can make potions as well for half the normal cost, if you are proficient with a herbalism kit. And if you also want to study for a skill or something like that, a decent check would, and a day's worth of study would possibly gain you the skill. Cool. Benneck, take it away.
Yeah, as we get out of the dean's office, the note-taking book that I had before, now that I have to take notes because I might have to speak into the ether at some point, I flipped it back a few pages and I'm like, well, I was going to start actually from the bottom up. But I guess while we're here outside the dean's office, I'll start the tour from up top and go make our way to the bottom. That's where the lower library is. So,
Serum, do you want to take us to the map so our lovely audience can see what we're looking at?
All right, so we're here. I pull up the brochure with like all the points as well.
Yeah.
We're here at this number 4 spot. That's the dean's office. You can find him there usually. He's holed up in there with his books and stuff. We don't really, disturb him, but he's very cordial and probably will give you find the time of day for you if you need it. And then you can see through the windows all the floating towers and structures. Yeah, the little ones are like classrooms and little libraries that us advanced youths can have access to, and classrooms that you need to get to. And how to get to them, for you humble folk people, there are bridges. Kind of have to just get there on time and run across before they dislodge, as they only last for a short amount of time. Some bird folk have it easier because we actually just float down. They have and there's the big ones. I point to one that would be close by, are terrariums. There's 4 of them, and one of them is the one all the way up there. Up top is a security building with a jail. That's where the perch guard usually are. But otherwise, the other terrariums are just simulations of various biomes. We have a coast one and a very verdant green one, and I think a sandy area. But same thing. There's a barrier around them, but you can easily pass through. It's more so that explosions and practice spells don't go towards the main building or anything like that. All right, let's make our way there as I just lead them, point and stuff. So now we're at the dormitory level. This is the 5. This will be staying. Our little guides should point us towards our rooms later when you're done with the day. That's where the students and faculty are. And the higher up you are, I'm actually not sure where we are, but usually the higher up you are, the better your standing is in the school. First years usually have ones that are close to the bottom. As you progress, you get higher. Because the classrooms are also floating up top, it's easier for the upper years to get to them from higher up dorms. That's all. And then as we make our way bottom, now we're at the central building faculty offices. There are lecture halls here. All the first year stuff's down here. There's a little security bit with the perch guard, but just don't do anything stupid or swear too much or something, and it'll be fine. The infirmary is also there. In an emergency, though, just so we're clear, if I think Sir Potato Sack knows healing spells, and Sir Helvig does, but he's not here. But in an emergency, you can find one of the ones with white robes, or the ones with brown robes, and if you're lucky, dark purple robes that have the Cure Wounds spell. Those are clerics, druids, and bards specifically running around. I'm sure they'll help you out if you're nice. But that's just there are first aid retinue, since they have the skills for that kind of stuff.
What colors were they again?
White for the cleric ones.
What?
Yeah. Brown ones, because it's earthen I look around. I was about to swear. It was like earth and stuff. For the druid ones, and like a dark purple for the bard ones. I guess you can, if you want to like learn something from them, you can also just go to one of their classes. It's fine.
I
You
say
notice,
something real
however,
quick?
oh sure, yep, carry on.
Fuck!
Oh,
It echoes.
I just wanted to see what would happen. Go on.
A lot of people like, and you actually even, if you're listening for it, Trish, you hear, one of Nevermore's friends, hardly surprising. And
yikes!
Well, yeah. So I have a little bit of a reputation for having a filthy mouth. There were a few times I was reprimanded, and by a few times I mean many times. But
Telling me you weren't the perfect student, Nevermore.
look, I was the perfect student. I just misbehaved a little bit along the way.
And
What
we're going
is
to
so
have to
bad
ask people for stories about Nevermore.
What is so bad about the word fuck?
Nothing, Jude. You should say it all the time.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Some people find it crass, but I think it's a fun word. You make your own decision about it.
What is crass?
Oh,
You opened the kettle. You have to.
No,
you opened
it's
the can
fine.
of worms. You have to.
It's
do it.
fine. We're here to learn,
Take it.
Nevermore. We are here to
Take it.
learn.
Go for it.
Crass means offensive and lowbrow.
Lowbrow.
I'm looking forward to the crest.
It's like when
lowbrow.
somebody lays on the ground with their eyebrows close to the ground. That's lowbrow.
Why would someone do that?
Bye, Trish.
Anyway, the lower library.
Thanks, Dan. Looking around, you notice that the majority of the people, majority of the students in uniforms are dressed in black. Varying styles of black robes. You do spot a couple of white ones, and you do spot a single brown one, but most of them are black with various colors of edging, like Benneck's robes.
Yeah, all the
majority of
black
students-
robe ones are wizards. Our schools are dependent on, or the trim color is dependent on our school/major or whatever.
So just a DM question is because
Yep.
I have silver trim all around the edge of my robes. Is it fair to say that potentially silver has to do with war magic potentially, or
No,
if that was
yours
your
is actually-
uniform,
if that was your uniform, canonically
Nice one.
the war college was red and blue vertical parallel stripes down the
That's right.
sides, but I figure you've taken some license because there isn't a silver one in the list. So yeah, you've gone fancy.
yes, I am quite fancy.
which
I
is-
might
which is
even see
Nevermore
if
was
I can
gonna do.
pick up. I might even see if I can pick up a red and blue, not robe, but just some sort of thing I can add onto me, just to remind people of
That's
the
what you
school
do.
of magic I studied. Yes.
What is a blue robe?
we're abjuration, like defense spells, stuff to close portals, stuff like
I
that.
have a
I can't
blue
do that.
robe.
Oh, a blue robe, not the blue trimmed robe. I don't think there are blue robes in.
Blue robes are for detectives. That is why.
Okay, but yeah,
Oh.
I'll add that in.
Look,
I write
Benneck.
it down somewhere.
Benneck, look, what time is it at the moment? Looking around, what time is it? We got there in the
mid to late afternoon. Yeah.
Do we want to potentially go see the library tomorrow? Let's just at least get settled in. We'll go grab a feed. We'll see our rooms, and we'll have a fresh start in the morning, given that we were stabbed by skeletons probably about 3 hours ago, and it might be nice to just wash the dirt off.
That's completely fair.
And Trish needs mashed potatoes, otherwise she'll implode.
I do. I might say fuck again very loud if I don't get some soon.
Yes.
Speaking of time, most of the facilities around campus have like a closing time for the day. So if you really want to get something done, like they open for like 8 hours.
That's right.
Time does the library close?
Technically speaking, if you have permission to be down there, you can go down for as long as you like.
Yeah.
But you would actually need to seek special permission to be there out of hours. Partially because it's dangerous down there, so they would have to have somebody who is qualified to oversee you. Benneck is not qualified to fully manage any problem that occurs out of hours.
Perhaps we should take our first expedition down into the library when they're within normal functioning hours.
After lunch?
Maybe how about after breakfast tomorrow? We'll go down and have a look.
Yeah, it depends on how long you wish to stay there for the day. Yeah, I can't guide you there out of hours. I'm not like a teacher or anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just do not want to waste more time.
Yeah.
I gotta go with Jude on this one. I'd rather get as much done as quickly as possible.
Wait, so you want to go now?
Sure.
You've got an hour or so before the library would close.
Sure, we can have a look now. Sure.
You could certainly go down and introduce yourself. Maybe tell the head librarian what sort of things you'd like to look for, so they can get.
They might be able to. Yeah, exactly. They might be able to have a bit of an idea and do a little bit of research for us. Good thinking. See, this is why I bring you two along. Well, that and because I love both of you. I didn't
To the
say
library.
I didn't say that.
Oh.
Shut up, Trish. I didn't say that.
No, you can't take it back now. You love us. That's a fact.
It's
Do you need me to write that down?
Yes, I do. Please.
Nope.
Okay.
Don't need to write that down, Benneck.
Definitely
Benneck.
be in next week's recap.
By the way, Benneck,
Well, yeah.
Look,
Benneck, I just want to say, from one journeyman to another, congratulations on qualifying your course.
Oh, thank you. It's just quite recent, but yeah, it was quite a.
Benneck, it's
journey.
the equivalent to a master's degree. Like it's higher level qualifications.
Yes,
But, yeah,
I know
thank
it's
you.
no, I know it's no small feat. So a massive amount of respect for you, and clearly you're quite skilled.
Yep. Cool. Well then, Benneck,
He's
you
so
lead
open
them.
about it.
Yeah. Benneck, you lead them down to the lower library.
Yep. I'd say along the way, did you know that this middle tree was once alive? I feel like
Yes.
it's petrified to save it from disease. That's historically what this was about.
why?
I'm not sure. That's just my fun fact. I just wrote a fun fact.
If you would like to know, Josh did make this up. So there was an attempt. Alderheart was such an awesome tree, and it was nowhere near as big when this one started growing. But everyone had already decided this would be a great place to build a city. Let's build a second. Let's grow another. So it was an attempt to do a seedling off Alderheart. And it kind of worked. It grew for a couple of centuries, and it was starting to get like fairly big. And as you can see, it's fairly freaking big. But a rot, basically. It was partially suspected was caused by magic. Some sort of deep rot got into the wood, and the tree started dying. And there was worry that it would become structurally unsound, but it was already a seat of learning and really respected place to go. So they were like, well, let's save it. So they did what they could, and petrified the tree. And the terrariums are built around the remaining branches from the tree that were not structurally sound enough to be kept on the upper reaches, so they were cut off, and then as dirt accreted around them, the branches acted like roots, and they were able to raise them back up again magically. And so it still has sort of that which orbits it are the original boughs of the tree, which is kind of fun.
Magic is so cool.
Yeah.
It truly is. It truly is.
Thanks for telling us that, Benneck.
Yeah, no worries. I just remembered that from a history lesson, and now I'm back at first year.
So, the staircase near the entrance that you were very close to when you got the lift up, you presumably get the lift back down, and you can go down the staircase. Now, the staircase is flanked by a pair of statues that Nevermore you would know on sight are golems. And they are an element of the security program of this place. If you are not permitted to be there and going in there after or going in there out of hours, they will stop you. They won't kill you, but they will stop you, and they will do whatever they have to stop you. And they'll come to life. And yeah,
I'll definitely make sure that Jude and Trish are both aware of that.
Yeah. There won't be any malice in it, but they will not take no for an answer. They don't speak.
The stone will hurt me?
Well, they'll basically come alive, and they will stop you from entering the library. So if you're not supposed to be in there, that is what they will do.
Yeah.
Like, how good is their vision, Nevermore? Like,
Stone!
I don't think they
sharp eyes?
see in the vision sense that you're talking about. I think it's more of like an awareness, magical awareness around them.
okay.
Can
Pretty
you
certain
not
they
do
can
this
see
while you're in my
invisibility.
custody, though? I don't want your
no.
deaths to be on my name.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not going to happen. And also, we're not going to go down there and just open random books, are we, Jude? Well, Jude, I know it's annoying. I know it's annoying, and perhaps we might find a section of the library where you can just open books. But we have to be sure, because some of the books down there will legitimately kill you if you open them. And I don't want you to die. Do you want to die, Jude?
No?
No, exactly. So
But why
no
would the
opening.
book kill me?
Because they have magics written into them, and you open them, and it releases the magic that's bound into them, and they can the release of the magic can course through you, and you will explode. Blood will come out your eyes, and all sorts of things.
You're having this conversation presumably as you're going down the stairs into the
as
library.
we're walking. Yeah.
And an older-looking strig man is sitting in the library down the bottom of the stairs. It is, you would know this, Nevermore. This is Mordain Swiftgale, the head librarian, who has been the head librarian at the Avium for nearly 30 years. He is, sitting in a room filled with rows and rows and rows of books on large shelves, each containing several hundred books. Magical braziers once again illuminate the area, but their light strains to reach every nook and cranny. It feels like there isn't quite enough lights for the whole room. And as you come down, he raises his head and watches you keenly. There he is, Mordain Swiftgale. That's what he looks like up there on the stream. Quite a replete. I really love his tiny beak.
He's got a little beak and little glasses.
And he looks up. I love the tiny, tiny glasses. He looks up and he says, well, more than that as well. If Master Potato Sack is interested, some books contain a living essence of a creature, often quite an unpleasant one. It's impossible to 100% contain these creatures, and if you happen to open the wrong book, the creature can escape. If you want a good reason not to just go opening random books, you have a very low chance of finding one, but who knows? Not even I know every book in this library.
Thank you, Mordain. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The defenders of Alderheart, I presume.
Correct. It is us. And Benneck.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know Benneck,
sup,
of course.
Mordain.
Hello, young man. And he fist bumps you.
It's fun.
Yeah, Mordain's cool.
For Mordain, I put on my robe properly.
We're just making ourselves familiar with the library once more. It has been a little while since I've been here.
Yes.
Just want to kind of, I guess, touch base with you, actually. We're hoping to find you. You
The
familiar
dean
with
has instructed
what's
me
going
to assist you however I can. I'll admit the whole process is the whole business rather is quite distressing. Any assistance? What? I have been told you'll be doing a bit of research. What subjects will you be perusing? I'll see what tomes I can find, and you can begin in the morning if you like.
That would be wonderful. If you could find tomes on information on the Scorched Grove,
Yes.
portals within the Scorched Grove, any sort of recollection or memories of portals or mention of them.
Very well.
The Great Calamity, maybe
Of
what
course.
caused the Scorched Grove in the first place.
Yes.
Elemental creatures, specifically incredibly large ones, and how to banish them.
Right. That is Birchwalker's area, but I shall see what I have.
Yes, well, we will have a chat with Birchwalker after we've gathered a little bit of information and know where to kind of focus our attentions. But yes, basically, long story short, massive elemental creatures stepped out of a volcano in the Scorched Grove, which we believe to be a portal.
How massive?
Scale-wise, and I will say how big it is, basically.
300-400 feet.
Yes. 3 or 4, yes. Of smoke and wreathed in fire and flames, and
Nevermore, can you make me an Arcana or History check?
Absolutely. Let's go with... I mean, they're both...
Make it History, then. Make it History.
Oops, already just clicked Arcana. 17.
It doesn't matter. It'll be the same one way or the other.
Exactly, yeah. 17.
Okay, 17. You recall that in your panicked fleeing from it, you do think it was maybe a bit smaller the further it got from the volcano.
Yes. One thing that I will note is it seemed to gain size in its proximity to the volcano. So there may be something to do with an attachment to the volcano. So maybe something to do with severing an attachment.
Any elemental creature is powered, if you will, by its attachment to its plane of existence, the one that from whence it spawned. It would seem to me that if your summation that this is a portal would seem to be correct if this creature was at its most powerful directly above the portal. That seems correct to me.
Yes. One final thing, unless
Yes.
Trish and Jude have anything they'd wish to add to matters.
Of course. But with your final thing, I shall ask.
Well, my final thing is entities trapped within from wounds. Look, I'll tell you kind of what's going on, Mordain. You might have noticed that my face looks a little bit different from the last time you saw me.
He takes 2 strides straight towards you. You've presumably come into the space and are having this conversation at not too much of a distance. He takes 2 strides over to you and grabs your beak. He's older, he's quite elderly, but he grabs it quite firmly and pulls it close to his eyes and adjusts his tiny, tiny spectacles to examine the wound in your face. He said, "I had wondered about that. What happened, young man?"
We became the defenders of Alderheart.
Yes.
Basically, I got stabbed in the face by some sort of malicious knife, by a nasty map hatch, and ever since it's kind of spoken to me. There seems to be an entity trapped within my head. is the
He
long
lets
and
go
short
of your
it.
face and stalks back to the table. Not really, he doesn't seem to be listening to you after you mentioned the word knife. And he picks up a scrap of paper from the table and scribbles something on it. You don't think he's writing. He looks like he's drawing.
Yeah.
And he holds up a picture and says, something like that?
Yes,
And it was
exactly like that.
very similar. It's not perfect. It's nowhere near exactly the same knife, but it's very similar.
Incredibly similar to that. What do you know of it, Ordain?
I know nothing of that particular knife, but it is extrapellinar entities, I believe. I don't know how one would do it, but you can bind creatures of celestial or demonic might to weapons to imbue them with special qualities or more power. Most of the time, the being in question has been slain, and it's just a small fragment of their spirit left. If you tie it to something more like a living entity, you've got what you've got there is a warlock. And you'd want to talk to a warlock professor about it. It's not my area.
Well, it seems to have been trapped in a weapon, and upon slashing my face, it is now transferred to my head. And every now and then there's a voice in my head, and it's not like a I'm crazy kind of voice. It's an actual voice.
Have you experienced any other symptoms?
He can speak that weird language now.
Yes, I can speak.
He goes, yes, stop, please. I don't speak the language, but that's celestial.
Wow.
Yes.
He says, you were not. He's like, I recall you not being fluent in celestial before.
Nope. I learned that just recently, really, after I managed to focus and was queried by a priest. They asked if I understood what was being said.
I would suggest you talk to Grom.
Of course.
Professor Windcrest would be, and you know Professor Windcrest. Actually, you wouldn't know Professor Windcrest. He's a new addition to the faculty. He's a priest, but a very able young man, a servant. Priest of Adair, I think, and he'd be the person I would talk to about that.
Are there any just out of curiosity, is there anybody
Looking for historical references?
Well, I'm looking for. Well, this is me asking. Is Nevermore familiar with anybody that is a priest of what's it? Schweppes. The Corvum god. What's it called again?
I wrote it down somewhere.
God. Starts with G.
Yeah. Gareth?
I will find, because I think I've got it in my notes.
I can't remember. Like it's in my notes, but God knows where. My notes in this campaign are 43,000 words. So
Very.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Gesme? Is it Gesme?
Gesme. Yeah. There isn't one here. He would say, well, we of course have priests of Gesme here, but that's totally the wrong voice. Well, we of course have priests of Gesme here, but very few of any, well, none I would have said of any high note. Most are students. There may be a younger faculty, or like a junior faculty member, but nobody above your own, or even equaling your own level of schooling.
I will
admittedly in their discipline, but Professor Windcrest would be where I'd start, and he'd be able to point you in the right direction if he doesn't know. Absolutely,
that would be. That would definitely be what I'll do. Thank you very much for the hint.
You're welcome. Yes, my deepest sympathies.
When
Yes.
do you suppose we should come back tomorrow to begin looking through books?
9 a.m. when we open.
Absolutely.
I will certainly have some opening materials for you to begin with tomorrow. How many of you will be lending your eyes to this particular endeavor?
Technically I have one eye now, so just one from me.
You can't
Benneck?
read with two independently, though, so can you? Benneck, I believe, yes, you have been assigned as a research assistant.
Yeah,
I
so
never
I'm
thought of
just
that.
wondering if that's where they want to place me, that's all. Or if they want me to do something else.
Oh, I think
That's-
absolutely. If you could help us read, that'd be wonderful.
Great, I'll do that.
Splendid. Mistress Caper,
Yep, I might as well help.
excellent. And Master Potato Sack.
Jude will read.
Splendid. Well, I shall have materials prepared for you. I'll send a couple of the skeletons out to go and get that. Yeah.
Just ignore it, Trish. Thank you very much for your time.
You do know, Nevermore, that that there are no cleaners or janitorial staff at the college. All of said functions and a lot besides, for example, cooking and stuff, bed making, anything like that, housekeeping functions are all performed by servitor skeletons.
Yes.
Like necromancer peeps.
And would we have seen any walking around by this point in time?
Yeah, probably a couple.
Probably.
Look.
They are
point it out.
robed. They are robed.
So they're not super obvious, yeah.
So it's not super obvious, and every single one of them donated their skeleton to the Avium. It is not. It's like in honor of the Avium, they donated their body to science.
It's kind of like when you donate your body parts after, like your organs and stuff after death.
What?
Yeah. So look, something I just want you to be aware of, Jude and Trish, is that there are many schools of magic, and one of them is a school called necromancy. Are you familiar with necromancy?
No.
No. Necromancy is basically magic surrounding life and death. One of the things you can do with the school of necromancy is to bring dead things back to life. Now, there's a policy in place here at the Avium. People that pass away can offer up their skeletons, their bodies to the Avium to continue on in serving the Avium afterlife, in doing things like cooking and chores and random things. So, I know we did just fight skeletons out there, but if you see a skeleton in here, don't immediately try to kill it.
That's important to know, because if I see a skeleton, my instinct is to kill Nevermore.
Trish
To
and
kill
Nevermore
me?
particularly.
Why would you kill me if you see a skeleton?
There's a comma in that sentence, and you know it.
Didn't sound like it, Trish.
Trish and Nevermore, and well, Benneck would also be aware of this, but Trish and Nevermore, you would know that. I don't know, but I think Trish would probably know. She would at least be circumstantially aware. There is very strict rules in the Humblewood regarding the use of necromancy. The faculty of necromancy, who have robes bordered in grey, are a very rare breed at the Avium. They do have a professor, a very respected, tenured professor, Gilda Nightseed. She was here when Nevermore was studying. However, what they're allowed to learn, it's like Defense Against the Dark Arts. You don't actually get to learn the nasty spells, you just learn to get how to block them, sort of thing. Any significant research into it is strongly discouraged, is the thing. However, Professor Nightseed would be the person who makes most of the new skeletons.
I bet this never goes wrong.
Historically, and if you say that out loud,
I would say that out loud.
Mordain goes, very rarely, actually. I'm surprised as you are, but yeah, no, it's normally not really a problem. And if it goes wrong, it's really just bits start falling off.
Well,
if you happen across a stray bone or something, usually a finger or something, it just means the spell needs to be renewed.
Well, I promise not to kill any skeletons unless they get too close to me or look at me funny.
Fair.
And now with all that talk of dead creatures, do you want to go eat some mashed potatoes, Trish?
Yes, I do. Yes, very much so.
I'd
Yes.
also love to eat, but that's just me.
We will see
We have
you
that in common.
on the morrow, Mordain. Thank you for your time.
He gives you, he doesn't smile exactly, but he does give a curt nod, and he says, "Good to see you again, boy." And you head on up to the cafeteria.
Trish,
Yeah,
Jude, any
immediately when
questions?
we're not
Oh, sorry, you
interacting
go.
with Mordain, I just like put my sleeves down again. Fuck this shit.
Trish,
Love it.
Jude, any questions?
A million, but I think I need a stomach full of food before I ask them.
Oh, we can eat.
I don't know if
both
I
of we.
love or hate this place. It's perplexing.
We'll talk over dinner then, I guess, unless you have something you want to ask, Jude.
No.
Okay.
Just a question as well for you, Josh.
Yeah?
Are there the avian folk, the bird folk, are they flying around within the trunk as well? Like,
There is a bit of
do most
gliding.
of them? Yeah.
Very
I
few
figure-
bird folk can actually fly.
Kind of what I meant was like gliding their way down and stuff like that.
Yeah. Jab hunter. Is the cafeteria in the shape of a giant bird feeder? That's racist. Yes.
No.
Seeds, mostly seeds.
Yes.
No, it's not. That would be silly, and we're not silly here. No. Cool.
I was just saying, Jude, maybe I could take you for a fly later on. I've never actually done that before. We could float our way back down to the floor and spin around, and it'd be quite fun. I don't think I've done that with you before. Maybe you'd like it.
Can you carry Master Jude?
Should be able to. Well, Jude might be able to.
It's in your
sit
backpack?
something.
If
Yes,
you
we can give it a
divest
try.
yourself of a lot of the heavy stuff, you can
Yeah.
probably manage it. It's
Yeah.
not something you could do mechanically in combat, but I will definitely
Oh
allow
Lord,
it.
no. Yeah, just like a kind of float my way down and around the inside.
Yeah.
with
Oh.
A
Jude.
glide. So
Yeah, glide.
for our audience, there is a backstory and a feat that come in the book. There's several backstories and feats that come with the Humblewood book that are linked to the campaign. One of them is basically you are born with actually more ability to fly than most bird folk possess. And you can take this part of that as a feat as well later on. And you can basically, all bird folk can glide, but they can't actually increase their height with their wings. They can't fly truly, but they can slow their rate of descent so they don't ever have to worry about crashing. And yes, it would be a perfectly valid way to get from one side of the tree to the other without walking all the way around the circumference.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right, you head up and grab some dinner.
Yes. Flash my badge.
You do that. You flash your flashy badge. The dining hall is large and bustling. It contains every kind of bird folk, humble folk person you could expect to see, and a few weird and wacky and exciting and unusual faces as well, types of people that you've never encountered before. For
Such
example,
as, yeah.
can you all roll me a perception check?
I am great
These
at
wouldn't be that surprising to Benneck, but
Yeah, I'm great at perception. Yeah.
So yeah, Nevermore. You spot a new member of the faculty, one you do not recognize. And they are very unusual. This is a tall, otherworldly being in yellow and green, in the robes of a scribe. So they have a black with yellow and green horizontal parallel stripes trimmed up at the sides. This is a tall, otherworldly being, nearly 6 feet tall and lacking in any feathers or fur except on the top of its head. Its limbs are long and its digits lack claws. Its teeth are flat and its face lacks both a beak or much of a muzzle, which renders its gender quite hard to determine, and its skin is pale pink. And if you point it out, Benneck will say, "Oh, that's Grail Noctua, the head professor of the scribes."
Grail Noctua. And what, I mean, not to sound rude, what race is Grail? I don't think I've seen
Grail
folk
also
like that before.
has very long and pointed ears, but not like a Mapatch or a Vulpin. They are they protrude out and backwards from the side of their head. Benneck, you would be aware that this person has identified themselves as an elf.
Or they call themselves an elf. I don't know. They're scribes, so.
You know
Okay.
that this person is also not from this world.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, is this some sort of like fucked up flamingo aardvark sloth thing? I was
That's what I
like,
thought too. I was like, oh.
I was like pink, but like long arms and a
What
flat
is
face,
that?
and I was
It's an elf.
like a sloth, but in a pink. Oh, okay.
I was trying to describe an elf the way a humble person would see it.
Yes. Well, you nailed it.
The weird creature. Yeah, it's an elf, not from here, clearly.
Clearly, yes.
The story that goes around Benneck is that something went. They were a scholar back where they come from, and they made a mistake with an ancient scroll, and read a book they weren't supposed to, and boop, just popped here.
What's the food like?
The food is served by skeletons in a cafeteria canteen style. Everyone grabs a tray and I have some of that, some of that, some of that slopped onto the plate. But it's pretty good. Tastes excellent. The mashed potato could possibly use a little bit more butter, but there is extra butter provided.
Good.
Give me the raw shit.
Benneck.
Yeah, Benneck rocks up with basically a plate of offal.
So, Benneck, tell us, what's
Yeah.
your deal? What's your deal?
What do you mean, what's my deal?
As in, like, tell us about yourself, Benneck.
Oh,
Like, why? What got you into magic? Did you always eat dead things?
I mean, we all eat dead things.
I mean, true, yes.
Do you eat living things?
No, I don't. That's
Exactly, it's fine.
I realized the error in what I said.
Fruit is living.
Yeah, but when you pick it off, it won't be alive anymore.
What?
Hmm.
When you pick
Any-
fruit, you kill fruit?
Yeah.
No.
The seeds can like sprout new life in fruit, but
So,
Wait, does Jude think that she's eating live food? Is that better? She
They're
doesn't think
living.
that eating it kills it? Like,
Yeah,
So,
but the tree's
so
still
much.
alive. It's like eating fingernails.
yeah, that's true.
wait.
They're like
Did
the
you just
ends of
say
it.
eating fruit is like eating a tree's fingernails?
Yeah,
It's more like
'cause the
eating your
tree's
children,
still
more
alive.
like it.
Oh God. I guess it's kind of like a banana because it's shaped like a banana with the curve and all that.
Exactly.
There you go, banana tree, fingernails.
Yeah, but the
Oh.
seeds, so it's more like children though.
Oh,
thank you for repeating it. I'm glad that because it was missed the
Th-
first time, and
this
that's
has
it needed to
become-
be.
This has become quite fucked up.
I keep eating my offal.
Yeah. So, what got you into magic, Benneck?
It's a long story.
Make it a short one.
To improve. To shore up a
improve.
weakness.
And that, well,
That's a pretty
So-
short story.
that is a very short story.
Yeah, I
very,
made that pretty short, didn't I? Yeah.
yeah.
I like
Tell us-
Trish,
Okay.
Trish, your
Hair
perception
off
check
another
as well.
awful
Just,
thing.
if I may interrupt,
Sure.
Trish, your perception check. You notice again in the robes of a wizard, but this time with these are yellow robes, yellow-edged robes, black with yellow piping down the sides, is a very tall Gerbine. A Gerbine that is taller than Nevermore. You would guess female from the build and the way that they comport themselves. This is another member of the faculty. You can tell from, you're starting to pick out the badges have different sort of levels of rank on them because of how ornate they are, and you can pick the faculty members because they're very fancy badges.
I'm going to point her out to Jude and say, Jude, are you going to get that tall? I didn't know Gerbine could get that tall.
No, Gerbine cannot get that tall.
Gerbine do not normally get that tall.
Maybe it's a magic thing.
Could be a
Maybe
magic
it's
thing.
not a Gerbine.
Nevermore, you know that yellow is
Enlarged.
transmutation magic.
Ah, yes. There you go. Probably has altered themselves to make themselves larger. There's a spell called Enlarge, Reduce Self. Potentially a permanent effect.
Benneck, you would know that, it's permanent.
Oh yeah, I don't ever see.
That's Professor Sprymore.
I don't see Sprymore, get really tiny. So probably permanent.
Tell us 5 things about yourself right now while we're eating. Please, Benneck. 5 things. I need to know more about you, Benneck, if we're going to spend time with you.
All right, well, I guess that's fair. 5 things. Wow, I thought I didn't think I'd actually do that today. Let me think. I eat dead things.
But we all do that. That doesn't count, Benneck. We just established that everyone eats dead things.
All right.
Stop trying to get out of 5 different things.
Oh, okay. I ate raw dead things. Is that better?
That is better. Thank you, Benneck.
Yeah, we don't all eat that.
Not
unless
better.
it's like food or something. Second, I'm an abjuration wizard. Did you see? Pretty much shit. Fuck. Look around.
I've got another one who swears. Yes.
I thought I could be better at that. That's 2. 3. I like to learn hands-on. Mostly.
On what?
Like sure, I read, but I get a lot of my learning from practical stuff. And he points towards his bow and arrow and the really survival kit. He just kind of goes to the back.
Oh.
Yeah. 4.
What were you like growing up?
Where are you from?
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from?
Oh
Cotton Eye
no, legendary Cotton Eye Joe. Growing up, I was a bit of a handful. I'm gonna lie. I think I dragged a bunch of people down just being a little shit. But here we are. Now we're a journeyman. I think they'd be proud. Somewhat.
Okay, last one.
Just go with it. Just go with it, Benneck.
I love you, AJ.
Last one. I wanna teach other people how to do what I do someday.
Hey, now we
If
know
you-
Benneck a bit better.
If you were with 3 friends and something was coming at you which could potentially kill you, would you turn and run to save yourself, or would you fight with them?
Well, what is this thing? Is it edible?
Let's just say it's just a large fiery snake, for example, tunneling its way through the dirt, shooting gouts of flame out of its back and you're standing alongside 3 of your friends, what would you do? Would you fight alongside them? Would you turn and run?
I mean, if you think about it, if it's like really big and large, and it's probably hard to run away from, we probably should, fight.
Okay, so you're not a total idiot. Wonderful, thank you.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna move this along a little bit.
Yep.
So we finish dinner. We head up to our rooms. Everybody's got their own room, unless they don't want to have their own room. Benneck, they're not like fully cordoned off. You can't. There's no door to close, but there is a privacy curtain. It's all sort of radiating off a central room that you can share. It has a single couch and a couple of desks for private study. Some empty shelves. There are a few sort of primers on how to, it's like very, very entry-level magics that are just sort of textbooks that all students are just required to have. So they're in every room. Will struggle to not find these books. There is a bunch of it's not the most comfy bed you've ever slept on. It's certainly not the most comfy bed Nevermore's ever slept on, but it is a bed. And each room, it's not rudimentary, but lacking in personality, sort of a hotel room style thing, yeah? Benneck would probably have already dropped his stuff off. So his actually does have a little bit of personality to it. And there are 4 rooms, and you can while the night away, you can chill out. You would know, Benneck, you would know that access to the terrariums is allowed after dark. However, magical using any spell above 2nd level in a terrarium after dark is forbidden.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. And beyond that, is there anything you want to do before you go to bed?
I just want to say one thing to Jude alongside Trish. Benneck, do you mind if I talk to Jude and Trish really quickly?
No, I don't mind. Sure.
Wonderful. Cool. Pull them aside. Jude, both Trish and I are aware of the fact you can't read, and it's nothing to be offended or upset about or embarrassed about. You don't have to try and read tomorrow. You can look at the book if you want, but don't be upset that reading isn't your forte. There's nothing to be upset about. You're not going to be letting us down, or you're not a dead weight or anything along those lines just because you can't read a book, okay? This part does involve reading, and I just want you to know that you're not going to be letting anybody down if you can't contribute in that way.
Nevermore, I know that you know that I cannot read. But that does not mean that other people know that I cannot read. Maybe this isn't about you. Jude goes into her room and slams her curtain.
You okay over there?
What the hell was that about, Trish?
I'm fine.
That didn't make any sense at all.
I think we just hit on a sore spot. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, look, I did my part.
You
Walk
tried.
back over. Is there an emergency?
Nice.
Do I need to call a cleric or something?
Everything's fine.
No, it's fine, Benneck. It's fine.
Oh, all right.
We're a very tight. We're a very close-knit bunch. We are.
Jude, it does occur to you while you're sitting on your bed that if you wanted to learn to read, this would be a good place to do it.
Jude has other plans.
I'm sure Jude does. I had no doubt in my mind that Jude had other things that Jude planned to do.
Yep.
Cool. All right. The night passes relatively uneventfully, as in, unless you say anything happens, nothing happens. Jude, what happens?
Jude would like to take out her little badge and hold it in her hand the way the headmaster had.
Sure.
And say, Helvig Viewpoint.
It Jude, can you make me a religion check? Because I'm going to go out there and say that you are trying for this. Nope.
Your hand explodes.
Jude, it spins on your hand. For the audience, it would be like, I don't know if you've ever put a magnet inside a Faraday cage. Probably not. It's not something most people do in their lives. It's kind of fun if you do.
On the daily.
Yeah, who doesn't? I'm not actually even sure it would work in that situation. Basically, it's if there is loads of different magnetic signals all around the compass, so it can't find north. It just spins in various directions. It's like it doesn't know where it should take you. And after about 15, 20 seconds, it stops.
Does it stop in a direction?
Yeah, but it not in a meaning. It definitely stops in a direction. Like it doesn't. Yeah, it settles on pointing out the door.
I don't know whether Jude would know.
No, you
it
wouldn't.
Stops moving.
It's pointing towards the door to your set of rooms.
Jude knows that.
Okay. Yeah.
And goes to sleep.
Okay. That's that was upsetting.
Yeah.
Weekly Jude trauma.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will take a little break. Josh will get over what just happened. That was sad.
That was really sad. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because this poor little cum is like, I don't fucking know where your dead friend is. How do I point you to the plane of fire, the stomach of a snake? Oh, no, I know exactly where it'll take you if you follow it. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's bad. Okay, yeah, we will take a short break and we will be back at 5 to 10. Howdy, family fantasy RPG. Howdy, Phoenixy Wacky, Ragnar 64, Badass Butt, Chav Hunter Spina Only. It's lovely to see all of you here. Very, Zorvino, that's good. Well done. Yeah, dyslexia. It's a hell of a drug. Cool. All right, we will be back in 5 to 10. Mr. Serum, please take us away. So goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Madame and Monsieur, Dame and Herren, welcome once again, beings of indeterminate gender and persuasion, to the Humblewood. I am Josh the Pirate, and I am the DM for this game, and we are back in the wood in the Avium, the Wizards College, where our friends and our new friend, Bean in Someone's Neck, Benneck, is Ben in Someone's Neck, Eck, is going to show them around and help them find some knowledge to help them fight the terrible creatures of the Scorched Grove. So you've just had a good night's sleep. Jude, how did you sleep, actually? Jude, I'm a little curious with that information that you gathered just before. Did it help you sleep?
Jude slept okay, but Jude was up very early.
Sure. Was Jude up very early doing something specific?
Yes.
What was Jude up doing?
Jude would like to sneak out
Sure.
and ask the amulet again, but also to look for a person or being in a gray cloak.
Oh. As in a black cloak with gray piping down the sides, a necromancer.
Necromancer.
Yeah. Okay. I don't like where this is going at all. Oh no. Oh no. You're a paladin as well. You theoretically could do it. Great. You, Jude, it's quite early. You definitely spot some people or if you go out before most people would wake up, say 5 in the morning, I'm guessing maybe. Yeah, let's say that. Okay, cool. You go out 5 in the morning. You reckon.
Necromancers don't sleep much because they're usually dead tired.
Yeah. Oh, stop it. Stop it. So yeah, you go out. You do see a few figures moving around on the balcony of the level you're on. They all have blue cloaks on. Actually, there's 3 of them. One of them is sweeping. One of them is cleaning out a fireplace, and the third is just walking around holding a spear. Actually,
are they skeletons?
Yes.
I keep looking.
Are you following the arrow?
Mm-hmm.
It leads you to the. It does the same confused jiggle before,
It
but leads you.
takes a little time.
Yeah, it leads you to the lift. It actually doesn't take anywhere near as much time, Jude, as it took the first time. The first time it was spinning for 30 seconds or so. This time it took maybe 10, and then it was like, then it decided on the door is the best way to get you where you want to go. So it takes you to the elevator. You press it to the podium in the center of the elevator, and it descends to the ground floor.
Ooh.
And then it points you to the main door. There are a few more figures, mostly in blue cloaks. There is, however, somebody at the front desk. This person is in black robes with yellow and green stripes down the side.
Excuse me?
And a young female face looks up. This is a raptor, probably no more than you would have said just into her adulthood. Looks up and says, "Yeah, yes." Oh,
I would like
hello.
to talk to a necromancer.
They'll probably all be asleep. But I can certainly arrange that for you. You would be Master Potato Sack?
Indeed, but this is a secret. Okay?
I understand. Then would you want to talk to Professor Nightseed, the head of the necromancy faculty?
Indeed. That
Right.
is who I'm looking for.
Okay. She is, and then she rifles through some timetables and papers. I mean, you can't read, but some complicated looking pages on her desk in front of her, and says, "Oh, here's her timetable. Yes, she is busy. She's got classes until 1 o'clock, so a little after lunch." And then she'll probably have lunch after that. So she'd probably be free for a meeting at 1:30 in her office. I can book that in for you if you like.
No, that is okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Nice to meet
Very
you.
helpful. Yes.
She actually watches you leave, but it's like a cool.
Professor Nightseed.
Oh no. How far away do you get from this person before you do that?
I go back
Given
to the
that
podium.
her desk is no more than 30 feet from the podium.
I go to the podium. I go up and then I say
Okay, right. So you go back up to your level, the dormitory level, and without getting off the thing, you say Professor Nightseed. It points you right back to where you're currently standing. And then because that's how you have to get on the lift to go up or down more. So you'd have to press it to the podium.
I spend the next couple of hours working out up or down until it points me in the right direction.
Well, your current experience of it would indicate that if it ever wants to go up or down, it just takes you to the podium so that it can take you up or down.
Oh.
So all you have to do is press it to the podium and it'll take you up or down to the correct level. So you do that, presumably. It goes up about 5 more floors. And then you can get off the podium, and it indicates through a narrow series of corridors that end in an exterior platform.
Ooh.
This is a bridge that ends in the middle of the air. It doesn't appear to end anywhere. It's sort of it ends, but it doesn't appear to connect currently to anything.
Does my arrow point somewhere?
Yes, directly along that bridge.
But not at a floating orb?
Not yet.
Jude waits.
Jude, yeah. Do you wait at the end of the bridge, or do you wait at just inside the trunk?
Just inside the trunk. I am still trying to be stealthy.
Very well. How long do you wait, Jude?
As long as it takes.
Very well. You wait 11 minutes. And then a small tower made of dark stone, you would say obsidian stone, hoves into view. Yeah, love it. And I need to just check the accent. Oh yeah, that's right. Great. It's about 3 stories tall, and it's perched on a little plinth of rock, no more than, you wouldn't have said more than 50 feet across. It's got a bridge sticking out of it, and as it comes into view, you would guess that you would have no more than 30 seconds to cross the bridge before it wouldn't be possible to do so. So you jump you cross the bridge to this place. Yep, you do so. You are now on the other side of it, just as it moves away again. You would guess from the speed, the orbit probably takes 30 minutes. So you are on this thing for at least 30 minutes. And there is a door. It is clearly well used. The path leading up to it, there is actually grass all around. It's a building with a bit of area around it. There is grass and a nicely kept border. The flowers in the border boxes, however, are all black. There are roses, but they are black roses. There are lilies, but they are black lilies. There are chrysanthemums, and they are also black. You get to the door. It has a well-worn brass knocker, and you do that.
I knock on the door.
You knock on the door. Go away.
No.
The knocker says. The knocker is in the. So the knocker, I should be more specific, is in the rough shape of a face, with a ring through its nostril, like that there. And so you slam the knocker into its chin, and the face says, "Go away."
I do it again.
You do it again, and it says, "Go away."
Hello.
Nothing happens. Jude can be very patient here.
Jude will wait.
Okay.
I take out muffins and they have a picnic in the grass.
Sure. How long do you wait, Jude?
However long it takes.
Okay.
I imagine by this point in time, are we starting to wake up?
Jude has been gone for maybe 20, 30 minutes. Actually, when would you wake up? Given that Jude was not Jude didn't, I wouldn't have said make any major amount of
Probably
noise in the
7,
leaving.
to be honest.
Sure. So yeah, a couple of hours later, Nevermore and Trish and Benneck wake up. As people are beginning to stir, Jude is not there. Jude, you are still outside the place, eating your muffins, enjoying the view. It's quite nice. It's a beautiful morning. It rained during the night, so in the east there is the rain clouds proceeding to head up. Actually, it would be the north, over the crest mountains. But to the south, it's a really beautiful day. It's crisp. There's the smell of dew in the air. It's lovely. It reminds you a little bit of the morning after you set out from Winnowing Reach with Helvig. And you remember it specifically because of that. You and he were having a lovely conversation about songs. So Nevermore and Trish, you notice that, Jude's curtain, is it closed, AJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bed is full of muffins to look like Jude.
No, why? Fuck.
Jude, can you roll me I don't even know what this would be. Sleight of hand.
I thought
Jude is proficient with muffins.
Aw.
Yeah, I'm going to take a middle point of those two. Jude has made any investigation of the figure made entirely of the lumpy figure underneath this blanket.
Can I fasten it together with my wand of webs? It's like a mold.
It only lasts an hour, though.
It does only last an hour, so yeah. You could have done that,
Muffins.
but the muffins have now fallen apart. And if anybody investigates at all, they were like if you look through the curtain, you will see Jude is fully under the covers and apparently very, very asleep to the point of maybe dead, because they are not moving at all. If anybody goes in at all, they will notice that it is not Jude.
I won't be stepping foot in there until we're leaving for breakfast, probably at like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, Jude!
I do
Jude,
my morning
wake up.
stretches.
Jude! Wake up, Jude! Trish,
Jude does not move.
Trish, can you go check on Jude, please? It's not
All
something
right.
that I should do.
Yep, I'll check on her.
You go and check on Jude.
I open the curtain just a bit and I go, Jude, are you awake?
Trish, roll me a perception. Or investigation if it's better. I don't think it is.
You gotta roll a 1 to bugger this up.
Yeah, Trish, Jude is either dead or not there. Like, the thing ain't moving at all.
All right, I go up to see what the thing is.
The thing is about 4 dozen muffins.
I take a muffin and I go out into the living space, eating it. And I say,
Oh, that's a pretty good muffin. Early morning muffins.
yes, it's pretty tasty. To cushion the blow that Jude is gone. She's
That doesn't
left
bode well.
a pile of muffins in her place.
Wait, early hours? Oh shit.
Yeah, like left pretty early. We would think so.
Yeah,
And I've already been awake for an hour.
Well, you're the defenders though, right? So I'd assume that you guys are pretty responsible. You wouldn't just like open a book off hours and like that.
yeah. Well, you said the thing wouldn't let her in the library, right?
No, those would be fine. But like, I don't know. I hope he doesn't like fall off.
Look at me, Benneck.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that she could get herself hurt? 10 being very, 1 being not at all.
There's a reason why a lot
Give
of
me a
stuff
number.
is off like I stare for like a long time and I go 7.99.
7.99! That's too high! is this school a death trap? It's supposed to be for learning.
We are around when it's like off hours.
Jude Littlefoot, like the thing.
Yep. It indicates to the lift. Well, the door and then the lift.
Okay, do we go and find Jude, or do we just go have breakfast and trust that Jude is being responsible?
Well,
7.99, Nevermore. I want to make sure she's not dead.
Do you remember the part, Trish, where I said in Alderheart, as we were sitting at a fountain, that I would treat Jude like they were mature from now on? I feel
all
like
mature people leave a pile of muffins and hide and run away from their friends and go and find a necromancy professor. I just want to. I'm not there, but
all right. We're gonna go find Jude. Okay, Trish, you're obviously quite concerned. We should go find Jude. Yes.
Yes. This
Okay.
place is a death trap.
Let's find Jude then.
you follow. So it takes you no more than 5 minutes to head up 5 flights and to a bridge. Now,
we're still before hours, right?
Phoenix Wacky, would you do me the enormous favor of typing ! roll space 2 into chat?
1d2.
No.
Isn't it 1d2?
No,
or
just
is it just
space 2.
Just space 2. We've changed it.
Sorry.
This is highs being something interesting happens. 1.
It's a 1.
2. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah. So, you get to the bridge that Jude was at, and you can see Jude on. No, you can't see Jude because the bridge just ends. So it leads you to basically exactly what Jude saw. There is just an empty-ended bridge.
Benneck, what does this particular bridge connect to?
Yeah, what are the options for this bridge at this point in time?
One of them is a mid-level lecture hall, as in a lecture hall for mid-level students, mostly in illusion and evocation. The other one is the private residence of the master of the necromancy school.
So it's either a lecture hall for illusion or evocation, or it's the actual place the necromancy prof stays at.
If she has fallen off this bridge, I'm going to burn this school to the ground. I swear.
Trish, don't say that. Trish, shh. They're listening everywhere. Ears.
I don't.
Everywhere.
They can listen. Fine.
Look,
well,
if Jude
isn't working.
If Jude had fallen to the ground, I feel a sneeze coming. Oh, excuse me.
What a silent sneeze.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Benneck, you know
sneeze.
that the way these things work, and Nevermore, you will be fully aware of how these things work as well. They lead you to, if the place that they're leading you to isn't there yet, they'll lead you to where you should stand to wait for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jude,
if it was leading to Jude, if Jude was on the ground, it would have led us to the ground floor. So Jude is either in a lecture,
which
hasn't started
not
yet.
be on right now.
Jude's in a lecture learning, or with a necromancer.
Should we
Do
split
you
up
think-
like stuff comes across?
It's now 8 o'clock in the
Trish,
morning. Jude,
Trish,
you've been waiting for 2.5 hours. It's now 8 o'clock in the morning. You're muted, and you're going to knock again? Go away.
No.
My office hours are 9 to 5, alternate Thursdays.
It's an emergency.
No response.
A life and death emergency.
The knocker smiles and says, "It always is." And then you hear a click, and the door creaks open just a little bit.
Hello?
There is no response.
I walk in.
You walk into a comfortably appointed sitting room. In fact, there is Yeah, it's a quite a nice space. The big thing about it that you notice is a lot of objects in glass jars or in display cabinets. So sitting room would be an inaccurate way to describe it. There is sitting chairs. There are things, basically there are places to observe the objects in question, but all quite comfortable, like to sit there and look at them for a while. The room is, you would guess, occupy the entire ground floor of the tower in question. And yeah, what do you do?
I look around and I keep making noise and calling out, hello.
Sure. So you walk past, at the far end of the room, there is a staircase leading up. You walk past the first item, the first thing in the display case is a paving slab, a cracked paving slab with a vial of water next to it. Then a little bit further on, you find what else would be in there? Another one would be a roofing tile, a piece of slate, a roofing tile that has also, it appears to have shattered, but it is held in on glass stands so that it is held together the way it would have been before it broke, but it hasn't actually been repaired. And do any of these interest you, or do you just continue calling? Okay.
Go upstairs.
Oh no, you don't. You wouldn't get there. Well, at the just as you reach the stairs, probably you're 15 feet away from them, a peacock lady comes down the stairs dressed in a quite ornate nightgown. Serum, can we have Professor Nightseed up in the on the stream, please? She won't be dressed the way she's supposed to be because you got her out of hours. But there we are, Professor Nightseed. And she is, yes, wearing a night robe with a house coat over the top. And she looks at you through her glasses and says, "What sort of emergency is it?"
Hello, I am Jude Littlefoot, warrior mouse. I have come to learn necromancy.
Yes?
In order to save my friend, Helvig.
Ah. And the emergency is?
He is stuck between life and death.
Interesting. You are the defenders of Alderheart.
Yes.
You'll forgive me, but I believe a funeral was had.
No?
For Master Helvig?
Not a real one.
How was it not real?
Because they have no proof.
Again, you will forgive me, but you saw him eaten, did you not?
Yes, but Helvig ate fireflies all the time, and they were alive.
I'm afraid I don't see the logical connection.
Well, I am a detective.
Young man, I appreciate what I think you are trying to do, but you should know the Humblewood has some very firm laws about resurrecting the dead. Necromancy can do this. That is not in question. Whether necromancy should do this is. I understand how hard it can be to lose a friend. I have lost many. And I possess the power to bring them all back. Every one of them. But I don't. What happened to your friend is deeply sad. But even if I could teach you, and few possess the strength to really, truly resurrect someone, it is something that can go horribly wrong. Even if I could teach you, I wouldn't. I'm legally not allowed to.
I would not resurrect him. He is not dead.
But then why do you need a necromancer?
Because you know life and death, right? That's what they said.
Do you seek to find him if you believe, as you seem to, that he isn't dead yet?
Yes.
Then a necromancer isn't what you need, I'm afraid. You want someone who is capable of seeking a divination would be where I'd go.
Divination.
It warms me and gladdens me that you don't want to resurrect your friend. I am glad. Yes, Professor Ravania. He could perhaps help you find your friend. And Josh is now saying to the others, just breaking character, a large black obsidian tower hoves into view. The door is open, and there is a small bag that you recognize propped up against the outer wall. And you can't see it at this distance, but there's a lot of crumbs around it.
Oh, Jude. Go.
There's only like 30 seconds.
Yep. Okay.
You go, you cross, find, you get in there. Jude, you have another maybe 30 seconds before the others arrive. You are muted.
Thank you for your time. If I could come to a lecture, I would like to know more about life too, and death. Because nobody speaks of it properly. Everybody lies to me.
No, they don't, do they? Most people are very funny about it. If you like, between the hours of 9 and 5, you are welcome to study here. And she expansively gestures, just as you guys enter, but she is talking to Jude. These are my collection, and the items she's indicating, there's about 24. Fascinating things, and a real insight into the nature of death and life. Do you know what a deodand is? And you would probably come in just at that question.
Apologies, Professor.
Excuse us, ma'am.
Yes,
it's quite all right. It's quite all right. Young Master Potato Sack here had a question, and I did awaken me when you first arrived, but I rolled over and went back to sleep. I'm just finishing a small lecture, and then I shall be off to breakfast, I think. If you wish to study them, a deodand is a non-magical object, completely inanimate, that has caused the death of a person, a living being. All of these that you can see around you are that. And an interesting insight into death and life. This here, and she indicates a twig. It's just a stick. This felled a father of 3. Or rather, he fell on it. Quite unlucky. It was extracted from his ribcage after the fact. He was beyond saving, unfortunately. No one found him for a couple of hours. That is how simple. He tripped on one stick and fell on another.
And I suppose the roof tile fell off a roof and hit somebody in the head.
Correct.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you cut her off just as she's about to tell you the provenance of every single one. This is clearly a pet subject of hers that she's very fond of. She said, yes. Well, I should go and get dressed for breakfast. A pleasure meeting you all again.
Yes, we'll just wait outside for 30 minutes while the bridge comes back around.
Yeah, you
It's
could
okay.
all get back across with the two of you boys.
Yeah, we can just jump down.
I mean, I guess so. Yes, we'll do that flight if you'd like.
You
to
might
try it.
struggle with Trish, but probably be all right.
No, don't worry. It can make us fall slower.
Oh, okay. You do that then. Yeah.
If you want.
You can
You
wait.
can, like,
You can
dance in
wait
the
30
air.
minutes.
Whatever.
You can wait 30 minutes, or you can go all the way down and then
No,
come
we're
back
going to
up
be
on the
late
lift.
for breakfast and we'll be late for our library appointment. Let's
Yeah.
fly across. Let's do it.
All right.
I collect
you-
my bag and I clean up my crumbs.
Very well.
Are you okay, Jude? We had a little morning expedition.
Mhm.
I noticed Trish noticed the bed full of muffins. What was the go with that?
It's creative, no?
Yes, and then what was the point of it?
It's funny.
It's funny. Okay, yes. You weren't trying to be misleading or hide something from us, were you? Inside.
Insight.
Yeah, me too.
You are very welcome to.
Eh.
Jude, can you roll deception, please?
Come on.
Charisma caster, guys.
Benneck, though.
Yeah.
Benneck, Jude's not 100% on the level, but you don't know her well enough to know for sure, and you
Yeah.
certainly don't know well enough to possibly
Okay.
butt in on the what. But Nevermore and
This is
Trish,
their
yeah.
problem.
Yep,
Jude
okay,
seems
Jude. Look,
yeah.
we've already had our discussion of treating you like an adult. So, an adult you are. Okay, are you ready to fly?
Okay.
Yeah, so Jude, do you hold on to Nevermore's backpack?
Mhm.
Cool.
Please
Trish,
hold on tight.
yeah.
Um,
How do we address the Benneck and Trish? Benneck is probably not up for carrying Trish. She's bigger than he is.
I would like the challenge, man. But I just grab Trish, or I offer my hand to Trish, like, may I?
May.
I kind of start running, just into the ether. I just start running and pulling Trish.
You're probably no more than sort of, I don't know, 150 feet from the end of the other bridge.
So Vino's just like, yank, just throws Jude. 7.99, Trish.
Yeah, and then I just go leap of faith and then jump with you.
Sure. Yeah.
As we get to the apex of the jump, I kind of wave my other hand that's free to say Rias, and then a bunch of like glass shards almost from around, like float around us and kind of make platforms almost, but they break on impact with your foot. It's just slowing our fall as we like keep going across. As I cast
Sure.
Featherfall on both.
You
of us.
cast Featherfall. Wouldn't
Damn,
normally
that's
get you
fancy.
that distance, but that was cool. Yeah. I'm not going to delay you getting to breakfast. Basically, you probably drop
Yeah.
down a couple of levels. But yeah, you make it back to the trunk with no major issue, and you
We'll
land
see
and-
you over there.
All right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that was cool.
Nevermore
I
wouldn't be able to fly back to the
I
same
can't-
landing either.
Yeah. I can't quite do that, Jude, but let's go for a fly, yes? Well, not a fly, more of a glide.
Yeah.
Right.
You
but
would all land at the
please,
same point, to be
I
honest.
beg of you, please hold on tight because I can't do anything to stop you from falling to your death. And as I say that, I will jump off.
Okay.
Whee!
I'll keep like holding Fish's hand. I'm like, you can move around while this is happening, by the way. Feel free
This
to
is
do
pretty
whatever.
cool, actually.
This is so cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Nevermore, you do a couple of loops, not like barrel rolls, but like, yeah, and you all get to,
7.99.
yeah,
Holding onto the backpack.
Jude Littlefoot. Oh dear. Yeah, you land probably 5 floors down, exhilarated and ready for breakfast. You go,
All right.
you eat breakfast. Breakfast does feature mashed potato for some reason.
Marvelous.
Maybe
And
they've been
more
told by
muffins.
someone at Elderheart. And muffins, obviously there are
And
muffins.
dead fruit.
And dead fruit and living creatures or creatures that were very recently living. Yeah, all of the
Good
above.
shit.
Everybody's favorite. And then you go to the library. God damn it. Look, I love preparing
Sorry,
more than we
Josh.
actually need to do. That's cool. No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have a plan.
Perhaps
Cool.
you should. Perhaps you should give us at least a little bit of an indication of how many sessions you want us to be here for.
No.
So we-
You're actually, it's fine. I assumed that there would be more than I was planning.
Uh-huh.
You haven't done any of the
Oh.
stuff I assumed about, but yeah, sure. So yeah, you go and you do some studying. Yeah, you get there. Mordain is just finishing up, laying out the initial tomes. He's probably dug up 36 tomes of some of them are dusty, some of them are like really quite old looking, a few are very much in need of repair. And the 4 of you are there together.
Yes.
Yep, cool. He looks up and he says,
Who gets it
Ah.
first? Just kidding.
well,
Okay.
I've managed to find you at least a little on every subject you requested. Conjuration magic is, as I said before, very much Professor Birchwalker's area of expertise. They have a better library than I do here. But historical texts, and he slaps one pile, a very large pile, on the foundations of the Scorched Grove, secondary information about the Great Calamity generally, and this over here, a much smaller pile, but still like it's going to be several days reading, elementals, the summoning and conjuration of. If I can be of any further assistance, I will be around.
Yes. I think we should be okay having a read through these for now.
This ought to be a good place to start. I'll continue to see what else I can find. If you can't spot me, tell one of the servitors or another junior librarian.
Understood. Thank you for your time.
And the librarians are mostly dressed in the same, they're scribes.
We're gonna have a reading montage.
Yep,
Gonna
it's a
flip
real
over some
boring
books.
montage.
Gonna sit reading books.
So, Trish, Nevermore, and Benneck,
Yo.
can I get a straight intelligence check to determine how much you learned today? Jude, yours
don't
would be
learn
a
today.
disadvantage
Okay.
if you are actively trying to learn things.
I
Intelligence.
forgot your intelligence went down because of the thing.
Correct. My intelligence was +4, and it is now +2. Oh.
You love it when the dice agree. So, Jude, you learn fucking nothing. You probably find a couple of books, though, with some
Pictures.
more than just pictures, though. These pictures are like it's anatomical diagrams of elementals, and They are, yeah. So whilst you don't know what the words say, you do find some. Yeah, you would probably, the only real assistance you would probably be able to provide is finding pictures of what might be appropriate for the others to then study. So you do manage to work through a couple of books that don't appear to, as far as you can tell, have anything useful to contribute, but you can only tell by looking at pictures, so not very. However, you do pinpoint a couple that very much, yeah, this actually might contain a bit of information. Benneck, what subject were you going to focus on?
I'm probably doing the one that's conjuration.
Conjuration? Sure. So
To
yeah, you're
lead
focused
into banishment later, which is an abjuration-based thing. So
very well. Yeah, you do that. So you're what you find out. Conjuration. The big thing that you learn of the first day is that anything as big as the creature that these guys saw would require a huge, like monumental amount of energy to seal. Probably a comparable force to the force generating it, to be honest. It would take a tremendous effort on the part of the creature, even as one as powerful as the one that you saw, to break free of it if it had been sealed in the first place. This likely couldn't have been done without the seal being weakened by an outside force. You know that, historically, the Scorched Grove was sealed. And the magic contained within it. It would have had to have been. Nevermore, what would you have been studying?
I would have been studying well, I mean, if Benneck found something along those lines pretty early on, I would have then gone on to study and look for information on who sealed the Scorched Grove last time and potentially what the process was.
That would be in information in the Great Calamity or in the Scorched Grove. I will say that you'll do the Great Calamity because that gives you a good solid background on the entire thing.
Sure.
There is very little work of any great substance on the Great Calamity, as numerous books addressing the subject resort to legend more than truth. The books which do attempt serious historical study of the event note the relative lack of credible living witnesses. In terms of overall scope, there is a wealth of material written about the calamity, though the information is unfocused and spread across a lot of books. So quite a few of the books, it is worth noting, however, with your role, have had pages torn out.
Modane.
It would be impossible to tell when, but yeah.
Modane.
He bustles in about 30 minutes after you've first noticed this, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Why would there be pages ripped out of these books?
His head sort of jerks up. He was walking through perusing a book that he'd seen with another half dozen under his arm. He's probably on his way to put them away, but he's like, well, I'm doing it. I might as well read a book. Why would it have stuff torn out? His head sort of, what do you mean torn out? What do you mean torn out? Let's get the voice right.
As in there's pages torn out of these books. And I'm just going to have a look closer. Is there any specific section that the book pages relate to each time that they've been ripped out?
Roll me an investigation.
Like
check.
if I go back through and look at the, what do you call it?
Is there any sort of common theme about what they're being torn out
about? Look at the
about.
table of contents, yes. Yeah, if
sure.
there's any information.
Check the index.
If you could give me a hand, Benneck, looking for this as well.
Yeah, sure. I help.
Investigation, sure.
You can do that. Investigation with advantage. 19 will do it.
No need,
anyway.
but maybe higher though.
You might get a nat 20.
Yeah.
Nat 20s don't work on skill checks.
But
19 is
better.
Plenty. It's not. Yes, there is a theme. You would guess it's all when it comes to the subject of what was in the grove and what was done about it. But it's beyond that because you can't actually read the pages in question. You can't tell what they specifically said. But the theme is generally how this was solved, how this problem, the great calamity, culminated in the creation of not the creation, but the scorched grove happening is the worst bit of the great calamity, and how it was stopped is very much a mystery from reading these. However, you do find one passage. Regardless of the origin of the calamity, whether or not the rumors of an elder elemental being hold any truth to them, a magical event of incredible significance is almost certain to have taken place. The calling of such elemental energies, whether through evocation or conjuration, would require a mage of unparalleled skill or an entity of unfathomable power. This is a sentence that is cut short by the tearing out of a page.
Well, shit.
You also find an eyewitness account, Nevermore, but the first, but it's all missing. Like it says, and on the next page you will find an eyewitness account of a creature of fire and destruction. And then you turn the page and it's gone. It's been torn out.
Oh, Mordain, this is not looking good, is it?
Mordain says, no, and we take this very seriously. I shall get to the bottom of this. And he said, yeah, destruction of library property and such a hallowed tome as well. He's grumpy and he says, would you mind if I have that?
Absolutely. But if you could just have a think about potentially other books that might fill the gaps, and whether or not anybody here, particularly professors, might have their own private collections that surround information about this as well, that we could go and discuss things with.
Very well. You could try Professor Noctua, the scribe master, but Cheeky's with Noctua is not from around here. His own personal knowledge doesn't extend to local matters. But he's an interesting fellow. Might have something. I'll continue to search our archives. My apologies. I had hoped for. I'm disappointed in this. Trish,
you're right.
No, you're right. Trish, what do you research? Are you going to look into what?
I'm probably going to look into the Scorched Grove generally.
Sure. Scorched Grove generally, you got a 9, so not amazing, but you did find a lot of the writing available in the Scorched Grove covers what is already provided and what is already known. A long time ago, the birdfolk thought they could stop forest fires from devastating the wood by using powerful otherworldly magics, but the plan backfired. Their magics were fueled by the flames. Their magics only fueled the flames, and the grove was consumed. By the grace of the Amaranthine, the birdfolk were able to lull the blaze into a quiet slumber. Though the flames were contained, the act unbalanced the elemental forces of the wood for generations. This is why only gentle magics are used to help the earth heal. With nature, the slow way is the right way, is the passage you find that is the most useful in your first day's study. But yes, I'll happily reiterate any knowledge that you guys have already gained if you need to ask questions at a later date. But yeah, that's what you learn in the first day. It's a bit of a cerebral session.
Nevermore.
Yes, Jude.
Should I go talk to the scribe man
And what would you be asking the scribe man?
about the pages and things?
I mean, if you'd like to, sure. Couldn't hurt. Maybe.
Be helpful.
Good. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Ask about the ripped out pages, and ask if they know anything about
Great Calamity.
elementals. Yeah, Great Calamity.
Okie dokie.
Good job, Jude.
You guys continue studying. And Jude presumably does that and other things.
Yes. You would like
Jude.
to go to the divination professor.
I thought you might. This you would probably do shortly after lunch. This would certainly be, yes, we were. So would you go to the scribe master first and then the divination person?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Right. Noted. We will do that next session. We will address Jude's impetuosity next session. I think we will call it there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, there we go. I'm loving this new sneaky Jude. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
loving it.
yeah, I'm loving it. You guys don't have to. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and playing. Thank you to the Deck of Many for their great work on writing the source book. This was very heavy on their work today. A lot of this is all in the books. I made up a lot of the names and stuff. But yeah, a lot of it is already in there. Thank you to our fabulous sponsors, Wood & Forge, purveyors of WA's finest handcrafted wood tabletop accessories. Check them out at woodandforge.com. And you too could be the owner of a beautiful thing that AJ holds in her hands. Well, not that one, but like that one. A beautiful thing like what you are holding in your hand. Stop, you are always putting this on me. I think actually someone else here has the dirty mind. And I'm going to ask for favorite moments, please. Ladies and gents. So let's start at let's start in the middle. Let's start with Benneck. Dan, favorite self moment.
Taking Trish by the hand and leaping off to do the feather fall.
Yeah. That was solid. It was lovely. Nice little moment.
Mine came from the end, actually, where you were studying the books and they had the pages ripped out, and Benneck just goes, well, shit. But I also agree with chat.
Everything we eat is dead things. Yeah, that whole conversation was excellent. Still not adjusted to that craziness anytime Dan talks, Serum. Yeah, I know, right, mate? My favorite Benneck moment was Dan struggling to come up with interesting answers to questions about a character he barely knows because he's only been in for 3 hours.
I was like, I have to make so many decisions right now.
Yeah. And I felt for you in it because I was just like, dude, that's rough. Dan, I feel approaches his character work very much the same way I do. You come up with a general idea about the person and then fill in the blanks as you go.
Yeah, you learn more about them that way. Like, oh, that was surprising.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh no, I have to do it all now.
I really loved your answers there and being put on the spot and making up. Yeah, well done. That was really good job. Well,
all good, Mitch. Keep me on my toes.
Just the general awkwardness of Benneck in terms of like trying to figure out the group dynamic. Like when we were downstairs and we were discussing a bunch of stuff, I can't remember exactly what it was, and Benneck was just like, anyway, like anyway, I can't do the voice, but yeah.
Well, that was Dan. That was Dan knowing a DM's place and saying, "Shut up, we need to move on."
Yeah.
I really liked that you worked little fun facts into the tour. I thought that was adorable. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Great job there, Dan. I'm really glad I gave Dan a huge amount of information into it before we began, because it was much better having Benneck do the tour than have me just talk at you guys for 45 minutes. Yeah, good job. Right, let's Jude. Favorite Jude moments. AJ, favorite AJ moments.
My favorite Jude moment today was lying to her friends point blank and getting away with it.
After telling them off for doing exactly that.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
It's an interesting character development of Jude.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't think was going to happen, but the more that Jude was learning and then like Nevermore was giving away her secrets, and she just got frustrated in the office with the headmaster. And then she started learning these things, and she was like, well, I'm gonna go investigate. Like, I'm gonna go learn how to save Helping.
Yeah, fair.
Effective.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pushing back the vote. All the Benneck is now canon. Yeah.
That's right. I was the what's crass? What's
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
What's fuck? That's right.
Lowbrow.
The lowbrow. When you put your
Oh.
eyebrows on the ground. Yeah. I was trying to remember what one of the Jude moments, and that was what I've written down here was what's crass? What's fuck? So that was a good moment.
Yeah,
My
sorry, Dan, you
favorite Jude moment is the book prop humor. The headmaster's office. It's just like, but and now it's on my shoulder. It's just right there now. And I open another one.
Thank you for having those ready.
I liked seeing Jude being so single-minded about something, because normally she's a bit all over the shop, but she was like, no, I'm going to knock on this door and wait until I can get in because I'm about it. And she's just like so focused now. It's really interesting.
I loved it because I'm like, I always love it. And I complain, but I actually always love it when my players do something I just did not see coming. I am very glad I prepared as much as I did. And made up names for all the professors, although Professor Nightseed is in the book. But yeah, that was, I really enjoyed all of the being put on the spot that Jude did to me today. But I think my favorite is Helvig Dewpoint. And having to figure out, oh shit, what would it do? These are things I made up. Yeah, that was, I really enjoyed. Good job, AJ.
Thank you.
I
I just didn't know when Jude would do it.
No.
Because I was
That
like,
was
is
a
she going to do
totally
it
organic way to
the
do it.
moment she got out of the office, or like what was? And then when Nevermore crossed the line, and they're like, "You don't have to read conversation." Jude was
See,
like, no,
I'm actually going to shuffle this over onto Mitch now because I really
that was going to be my thing for sure.
I really adored that because it's Jude is going rebellious just as Nevermore is trying to bring it back. Nevermore is trying to repair things, and Jude is seeming to actively make them worse. And
I was just Nevermore was like, all right, Jude can't read. And yet Jude is trying to convince other people that, you know, they can read. But everybody's going to obviously tell that Jude can't read. So
because nobody treats books that way.
So I just Nevermore was like, well, Jude needs to know that it's okay to not be able to read books and not help in that way because there's so many other ways to help.
Yeah.
And that was Nevermore's approach, was basically like, you know, you're not lesser because you can't read like the rest of us. But obviously Jude hit a little bit of a soft spot there. Oh, sore spot, sorry. Jude kind of soft gap, and Jude took it the wrong way or whatever it might be. But yeah, Nevermore tried.
Yeah.
it was a very cute moment. My favorite Nevermore moment was the next morning of just saying, I did say I'd treat her like an adult. Like, we don't have to go and find her because I did say that I'm going to treat her like an adult. I'm going to give her that trust. And then immediately not doing that, like immediately going after her.
And immediately then bowing to the will of Trish, who dead set didn't care.
Yeah.
In fairness to Nevermore, Nevermore would have, I suspect, if it had just been up to him,
I'd have just
would
left
not
you.
have gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Trish was worried. And Trish is increasingly becoming group mom.
Group mom.
Just because she's now got an unruly teenager on her hands instead of a biddable 5-year-old.
I think it's like you've turned from this well-behaved, like, 6, 7-year-old that's just kind of doing things that their mum and dad says, to all of a sudden hitting this rebellious stage, and both like Papa Nevermore and Mama Trish are just like, oh God,
Yeah.
Behave, please.
Yeah.
We need to let her grow into a person.
At the same time, we wanted to grow into an alive one.
Yeah, true.
So good.
My favorite Nevermore moment is offering to like glide around with Jude. It's like, oh, that's a fun thing we can do. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And I was like, wait a sec, then I have to glide with Trish. Probably not a word.
I love it because, again, it's Nevermore trying to rebuild a bridge that he hadn't realized he'd burnt down. And yeah, I don't think he was entirely to blame for the burning of, to be honest. I think Jude is misinterpreting or misunderstanding or just not choosing to react differently to these things. And it's really interesting to see. It's lovely growth. It's really cute. Yeah, mine would definitely also be would have been that conversation. Deciding to like, hey, you don't have to. That's okay. And it not landing the way it's supposed to, and then having the wisdom to back off on the subject, where he would not have before. Day one, Nevermore would not have backed off on that.
Like, Jude, don't be stupid. You can't read. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to be smart for? You're not smart, Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have probably been day one. That would have been day one Nevermore.
Yeah.
I will say though, there is like, if you watch it back when Nevermore is giving that speech, I know, like AJ knows that came from a good place, but if you read it a different way, it's super insulting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Jude's perspective, it was like, what?
Yeah.
I love it. So good. I liked getting the tidbit of information that Nevermore had some kind of a reputation when he was at school, and now I need to know what it was.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
I was a badass, Trish. Total badass.
Yeah. At the nerdy college for nerds, he was the badass.
That's hilarious.
Only here could Nevermore be the hard one.
War magic, bitches. What's up?
Yeah. We've got a few from chat. Oh, yeah, totally go. Great idea. Go wake up a powerful necromancer before she's ready. From Badass. But a whole of many kinds of learning. Oh, no, I have the night you missed us. Yeah, watch the VOD. Nevermore
That's
loves
right.
Jude and Trish and wants them to be safe, followed by Benneck promptly writing that down. Yes.
It's gonna be in next week's recap if I'm doing that.
Absolutely. Favorite Trish 7.99 from Serum. Yes.
I love
It would
that.
actually be more, it's more of a Benneck moment, but yeah, that moment between the two of you was absolutely terrific. It was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, well, and he was like, no, I don't make me know. Probably not an 8, but very close to an 8. Yeah.
I was like, I'll lowball it 7, and then like keep looking, and it's like I can't really do that. Like 0.99.
If it had been like 4 or less, I would have left it alone. I would have been like, all right, she's doing her thing. Let's get breakfast. But you said 7.9. That's dangerous. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Like that's why there's rules, and like why we can't do shit after hours, because there's no one to save you.
Yeah, basically, it's not a death trap of a school if you follow the rules. It's like Hogwarts. Yeah, Trish, favorite Trish moments.
I liked my bit about the skeletons and being kind of grossed out. A bit like, we just fought these things, and now I'm not meant to kill them. Why?
I really
like
love that no questions were asked.
When
You
I
just
see a
discovered that there's a
skeleton,
whole
I
bunch
aim
of
to kill
skeletons
Nevermore.
as the servitors of the college, and you had to fight a whole bunch outside for no apparent reason, and it just hasn't seemed to have registered that that's an unusual event in any way. You haven't brought it up with anyone. You haven't mentioned it to any of the professors.
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little overwhelmed.
It was like, oh no, we just had this random encounter. It's fine. We get this all the time. It's not meaningful. It's probably nothing to do with the story.
It happened outside. It's nothing to do with
That's
this.
that's not in school grounds, Josh.
Yeah.
That's not that thing. Yeah, whatever.
No.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either. I just went like,
No,
oh,
I was
shit.
implying none of you had.
Never occurred to me. Never occurred to me.
Even when it was like, yeah, surely it won't go bad, right? Did not register in my brain.
Omi, the pre-panic muffin before was excellent as well. When you realized Jude was missing. Takes a muffin. So good news and bad news. She's getting better at arts and crafts, but she is missing.
I have two favorite Trish moments.
Oh yeah.
One is from your recap where you said the line, Nevermore's eye socket lady told us to ride a snake.
In terms of like a sentence of words, excellent.
It's just something I had
No
to write
notes.
down because it was brilliant.
Nevermore's eye socket lady told us to ride a snake. Wow, I totally missed that line. Wow.
So great. And then my second one is Trish saying that this school was perplexing. She both hated it and loved it at the same time. Just the passion in Trish's face was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of passion, that was when Benneck, when she fired up towards Benneck and was just like, "Give me a number. Look at me, Benneck." Like, Benneck, look at me. Give me a number. Just like got super spicy. I was like,
You
"Whoa,
actually
shit,
acted
this
out
is
the
it." Yeah,
I'm just
look in
a
my
guy.
eyes. Look at mine. Look at mine.
yeah, exactly. I liked the intensity that you brought in that moment there. You just, the Inquisition was on, and Benneck was just like, "Oh shit."
You went full Mama Caper.
Man.
I really liked. In the break, I think before we began, I actually specified to the characters that this is a place where people who don't know magic can learn magic. Like I brought it up, Trish could learn a spell or two, or certainly a cantrip here, and showed absolutely no interest in doing so far. And I was just like, no, you don't want cantrips? Cantrips are fucking sick. No, all right, fine, that's cool. And I love it because it says who Trish is. Her mind's on the mission. She magic is for fancy people. She's got a Nevermore for magic. If she needs magic, she can talk to Nevermore.
I'm fancy.
She's for practical purpose. I also, and let's not forget,
Oh
the hat.
yeah.
The very fancy hat, the very nice hat. It is now in the journal as the very nice hat. That is, it is in your textbooks. I
Badass
enjoyed
Buck
both of
got a good
those
one as
things.
well. Badass Buck got a good one where he just yelled out "fuck" into the. That was great.
And somebody going, "Oh, it's Nevermore's friend."
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
That was great.
exactly.
Yeah.
I also have two Trish moments.
Shit.
The first one, I thought you were gonna mention it, AJ, when you said like Trish during the recap, but the audacity to interrupt our grief.
Yes. Everything that Rachel
damn.
writes is brilliant.
Yeah.
Our recap, Rachel's like, mwah, chef's kiss.
Thank you.
In the session, I really liked you trying to, like, instead of going, yeah, sure, about the golems, be like, but what is their limit though on their vision?
Yeah.
How could I sneak past
How
them if
could
I
I
wanted
sneak
to?
past them? Benneck being like,
Don't.
do
Just
it.
don't. Just don't.
just don't do it.
Better not to. Yeah, they won't kill you, but they'll do everything else.
For surezies.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think
All
that's-
right.
And then
Moving
DM
together.
moments.
Josh's turn.
I would just very much like to open with the depth of, well, first of all, the necromancer's abode, and the fact that you had and I can't remember exact name, Dandone or
Deodans.
Deodans.
Deodans. That was
It's a
fucking
real
cool.
thing.
That was
it's a real
really
thing, but
cool.
they are
Your
cool.
description of like as soon as you said what they were, I was like, roof tile definitely fucking fell on somebody. And that's just you described it really well. And the concept of it was very apparently clear. But also you've clearly put in so much research into this as well. Factually, when it comes to, what this whole thing is about that we're trying to look up. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I liked.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say I really liked you just having the ability to roll with the shenanigans. You make it work so well. Like we're not even in the same place. Times are different, but it went so smoothly.
As we said before, we started. I very much I think more than any other DM I've ever worked with, I'm like rule of cool wins out. It is the primary rule of D&D, and I try and keep it foremost in my mind. I was like, that's cool. If it's in any way possible, I'll try and figure out a way to make it work, because a lot of the time I'm like, yeah, I'll allow it. The description of the demented elf.
I was
having Rachel's book ready to go.
I
immediately was like pink flamingo. I was there.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought like a pink sloth. So I've got some I guess a sloth is kind of like a humanoid in a sense, like long arms kind of thing.
I was trying to be
pink through me. Yeah.
I was trying to be mysterious, but only a little mysterious. I
loved it. It was so good.
Yeah,
cool.
That one was fun.
My favorite DM moment was all of your accent work today. For one, there's two. Accent work was on point. And the second one was following what Trish said. I mean, what Rachel said, rolling with the chaos. Your face when I used the amulet for a different purpose than you were intending was brilliant. The fact that you could go with it. And then I'm guessing after the break, you were like, oh, I actually know more about where this would lead. So it started telling me the direction of where potentially Helvig could be.
Oh no, I figured it all out straight up. It was leading you to the door, and then it was leading you to the elevator, and then it was taking you down. It did depend on your religion check. If you'd gotten a higher religion check, it would have done something else. Because you had been channeling the power of Gaspard.
Yeah.
Into it, and Gaspard knows more than you do, or the little thing does.
But religion is tied to intelligence, and
you're not proficient in
intelligence.
it. You're a paladin that's not proficient in religion. No.
My favorite DM moment is just something so small, but the idea of Mordain and Benneck just doing a fist bump.
Yep.
That was
Thank you. I that was
love Mordain. He gets shit done.
Yeah. You've spent a lot of time down there for your masters. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of a self moment. I actually kind of liked the completely off the cuff, made up after hours front desk girl. I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't prepare that person. Fuck you. You can tell if a person is pre-prepared because they don't have a silly accent. Just making her up on the fly and deciding how she would react and what she would feel towards you, and what she could provide, what she could offer. Yeah, I'm quite proud of that one. This was always ever going to be okay, let's see how good Josh is at improv, because there's only so much I can guess what you're going to do. I took a couple of guesses, and I'm really surprised it didn't happen yet. But they're prepared for the future. Cool beans. We have any more in chat? I figured the bird with mange, or in the midst of a bad molt. Yeah, sorry. My description of an elf from the perspective of a group of people who've never seen a human or an elf. Yeah.
I loved it.
Also,
I knew what you were going for. It was great.
That's a second person now. We have Burzan, and then we have this bitch.
Yeah,
Burzan
they come
was
from
Dragonborn.
But like a person that was like not from here.
Yeah.
Who like had
Burzan
an
came
accident.
here through a completely different method. but I can't imagine it's too uncommon in an Interpananar universe where, technically speaking, every like theoretically you could get to the Sword Coast from the Humblewood through a dimension door. Oh yeah.
Elf dude?
What, the elf?
Yeah. Super
Okay.
of him.
Very well.
Lucky you're going to investigate, right?
Yes.
Detective.
Yeah, going to talk to that person and nothing else.
Detective
Littlefoot. Potato sack.
Potato sack.
Detective Potato Sack.
I particularly loved how upset Jude was getting about Nevermore telling them stuff they already knew. It's like, don't tell them my name. It's like, we know your name. You're famous. How do we not know your name?
Well, the
Everybody
thing is,
knows about you. Everybody knows what happened to us. Like, why are we hiding shit for?
Oh, I still don't know that he died. I just remembered. Benneck doesn't know that.
Jude
Secret mission.
Jude never gave her actual last name last season, but to a handful of people, like very, very specific people, and then that wildfired. But Jude doesn't know that. Jude doesn't know that concept.
Jude hasn't got the idea of object permanence, and that people don't just stop when they're not around her. Yeah.
Or the information can't be passed to everyone.
Yeah.
So she knows she's well known, but she's like, but if I travel, that person's not going to know me.
Yeah.
Is Dan frozen, or is he just?
No, I'm just joking. I'm just
quite still.
Wow, I was like, you were
still.
just sitting there, just going.
I'm just still. I'm just imagining the world where I'm like, hey, yeah, that person doesn't like know me.
Yeah.
Because I've traveled. I've moved.
Yeah,
No one knows me there.
And in fairness to Jude, information doesn't travel particularly quickly in the Humblewood, but magic is very much a thing. Professor Beta, the council speaker, did specifically say she would be sending word to the Avium about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jude, no, it's legitimate thing for Jude to not understand or realize. Would the amulet find Elf? Yeah, it would. But only because he's told the faculty that he is an elf. Does it travel like wildfire? No, not particularly, though wildfire travels very quickly, and most people are aware of them when they happen. Okay, cool. That's the end of favorite moments. Thank you so much for sticking around through them. Thank you, chat, for contributing your favorite moments to us. It's lovely to read them and lovely to see how much you enjoyed our silliness. If you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch if you really like. You can get access to all of our emotes and things like that. So now we're going to do our sign-offs, and then I will pass us over to AJ, who is going to take us on a raid where we pass on the love to somebody else, because we got love to give. Okay. Let's do it in the same direction we did favorite moments. Dan, tell us all about yourself.
Oh. Hi, I'm Dan. You can find me here in chat as D-Rab, as well as in Roll for Damage's Discord. Come hang out and do cool stuff and see all the notifications for the other shows, which they'll plug later.
Yes, we will.
Aside from that, you can't find me anywhere, but have fun with me every week over here as Yeehaw Wizard Man.
Yes.
I love Benneck. He's great.
Yeehaw Wizard Man. Love it. We went to AJ after that.
Hi, I am AJ Winters. You can find me on Instagram at AJWintersVO, where I do all my other things like voice acting and script writing and producing for film and this place right here, Roll for Damage. And I also DM the Academy of Xander on Thursday nights right here. So you can tune in on Thursday at 8 p.m. AWST for our 22nd episode.
Oh gosh,
it's getting
hectic.
It's getting intense.
Ty is getting spicy. Ty and Jude are mirroring each other in spiciness growth. The growth of their spiciness, their spiky growth, if you will. Thank you so much, Smut Geek. That was a very nice thing you said in chat. Best D&D stream on Twitch.
Oh,
I agree, but I'm biased. Thank you very much. That sounded very kind of you. Mitch, tell us about yourself and your 1% battery life.
Oh, hello. I've had a very long day, but hey, everybody. It's hard to sometimes snap yourself back out of the voice, isn't it? After you've been doing it for a couple hours. I'm Mitch Earnshaw, and you can see me on the Twitter. I don't stream anymore, but this is where you will see me if you want to see me on Twitch, because I love my D&D with this crew so very, very much. And if you want to follow me, you can just follow me on Mitch_Earnshaw on Twitter. And I share funny things and just enjoy life and sleep. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel Foucar, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rachel Foucar. And I wrote a book. It's a sci-fi book called The Rings of Mars, and you can buy it and stuff, and it would make me happy if you did. Okay, bye.
Sorry, whose name was that at the top of the book? Sorry.
Did you see that?
Just show us again.
Raquel Foucar, I think it's pronounced.
Oh, snap.
Raquel Foucar?
That's close enough.
Foucar. And
Yes.
Who are you, Jar Jar Binks?
Oh my God, Rachel! You're on a book! Me, I'm so surprised!
Foucar. Oh, that was great. All right.
Raquel Foucar!
That's my new favorite mispronunciation of my name, and I've heard a lot, so thank you for that.
I was trying. Madame and Monsieur, Dame under Herring, and being of indeterminate gender and persuasion, I am Josh the Pirate, and I have been your humble and very deeply silly DM and storyteller this evening. If you enjoyed my face and voice tonight, you can find me in Paparotica at Fringe World, and generally infesting the art scene in Perth. Alternatively, if you like my majestic voice, but you think I could stand to tone the face down a bit, you can check out There Be Dragons, as I am part of the There Be Dragons crew. We're a 5e D&D podcast set in a gunpowder fantasy setting where I play the infamous and deadly pirate Skien, Felspar, and his little dragon, Hrosh. And Hrosh is super cute. We're getting some merch soon. We're going to have a Hrosh pocket. A pocket square with a Hrosh on a t-shirt. It's going to be fun. And you can also check me out on Roll for Damage, where I DM the Humblewood. And I am also going to be playing Erwin on Saturday morning AWST or Friday night Eastern Standard Time US in the second half of our FOMO game, The Drifting City, DM'd by Mike Fardy from Wonders and Blunders and featuring Agent Number 1, Sean and Shannon from Paradise RPG. It's going to be super fun. It was last week. Check out the things in the VODs on the Twitch rather. I'm getting tired too. Look, we're all tired. Let's go and raid somebody else and give them our tired energy. AJ, take us away. Oh, and thank you to Serum and Brepi and the Deck of Many and Wooten Forge. Go.
Well, as you know, fans of Roll for Damage, we pass on the love from our channel to other channels. And tonight we are going to go give some love to the Eldridge Scribe. They are also doing a D&D show, and we absolutely adore it. So we are going to go stream. We're going to go raid their stream once again.
Yeah.
Yay.
Love all of you, chat. So say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh.